Chapter 43. Wu Ming looked at the source of the voice. A strong man in his 30s stood there in plain clothes. "Long time no see, Sir Gujiefu." Wu Ming waved and smiled. "Please forgive me for not being able to entertain you at my humble abode." Gujiefu put 2 glasses of water in front of Wu Ming, who was sitting. "Isn't this proof of Sir Gujiefu's integrity?" Wu Ming didn't mind and took a glass of water to drink. "Annabelle, don't stand there, sit down and drink a glass of water." "This is an order." "Yes." Vilo, Salma. Annabelle, who was standing behind Wu Ming, had to sit down after hearing Wu Ming's order. As for the address, after Wu Ming thought about it again and again, he still let Annabelle call him sir. After all, Mr. Rosin was stranger than Rosin. "Thank you again, Vilo, Salma. If it weren't for you, I would have died in Khan village." Looking at Gujiefu solemnly thanking him, Wu Ming waved his hand casually. "You're welcome, Sir Gujiefu. I have to trouble you to come to the capital this time." Gujiefu was taken aback and then smiled bitterly. "I thought Sir Vilo came to me to introduce you to the king. It seems that I'm flattered." Then he looked serious. "So, Sir Vilo, what's the matter?" Wu Ming stretched out his hand, and a 3-fist-sized rectangular gray-black metal appeared in his hand. "This is steel." Gujiefu was more excited after seeing it. Yes, that was the pure steel block created by Wu Ming with advanced item creation. Not only the shape was good for forging weapons, but the density was also higher than the steel produced in this world. "Such a large piece of finished steel. Is Sir Vilo here to sell this piece of steel to me?" Wu Ming smiled. "No, Sir Gujiefu, I'm here to do business with you. I have a lot of finished steel blocks of this size." Wu Ming put the steel block on the table. "I wonder if Sir Gujiefu will be able to eat it." Gujiefu thought for a while. "If there are really a lot of them, I can't make the decision. How about this, Your Excellency Vilo? It just so happens that Her Royal Highness is looking for me. Let me bring you to see Her Royal Highness." "Oh, could it be the Golden Princess who proposed many wise policies in the kingdom?" Wu Ming's eyes flashed. "Yes, it's Her Royal Highness the Golden Princess. What do you think?" "Of course, no problem." Although he said so, Wu Ming thought in his heart. Can a princess come up with so many outstanding examples? I feel like there's something wrong with her. Soon, Wu Ming and Annabelle were taken to a villa near the palace by Gujiefu. Although it was called a villa, it did not look luxurious. Instead, it gave off a simple feeling. After following the servant to the living room, Wu Ming and Gujiefu chatted while waiting for the arrival of the Golden Princess. Annabelle, who was standing behind Wu Ming, was somewhat unhappy. She said something like, "A mere insect dares to make Lord Wu Ming, a supreme expert, wait. This subordinate will definitely make her pay the price." Although Wu Ming deliberately suppressed it, Gujiefu didn't hear it. After a while, a sweet voice came. "I'm sorry to keep you waiting." Wu Ming looked at the source of the voice. What caught Wu Ming's eyes was the golden blonde hair. The visitor was wearing a white princess dress with other colored decorations. She wore necklace-like ornaments on her neck and forehead, and a golden petite crown on her head. "Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Gujiefu. I heard that you brought someone important, so I prepared a little. It's my fault for not asking Her Royal Highness in advance." After some small talk, Gujiefu introduced Wu Ming to the princess. "This is the Vilo Silenceward who saved my life in Khan village." Gujiefu then introduced the princess to Wu Ming. "This is the 3rd princess of the kingdom, Lady Lana." The princess looked at Wu Ming. "Thank you, Mr. Vilo Silenceward. Thank you very much for saving Mr. Gujiefu." Lana thanked Wu Ming as soon as she came up. "I'm Lana Ter Chardin Lao Van Seve. I'm sorry I didn't see your name on the newspaper." Wu Ming looked at the naive Lana without any change in his expression. "It's my honor to see a commoner like me, Princess Lana," Wu Ming said half-jokingly. "You're funny, Mr. Silenceward." Lana covered her mouth and laughed. Wu Ming looked at the beautiful person in front of him and thought. Lana ter Chardonlal van Seve, the third princess of the kingdom of Rystage. She was known for her beauty and wisdom, and was praised as the Golden Princess by the people. But, she looks a little like Morgan Le Fay, so, Mr. Gudjefu, why did you bring Mr. Silensword to see me? Princess Lana asked the question in her heart. It's like this, Your Royal Highness. Gudjefu took out the stainless steel that Wuming provided and explained the purpose of Wuming's visit to Princess Lana. So that's how it is. Princess Lana, who understood the cause and effect, had a look of sudden realization. Don't worry, Mr. Silensword. I will help you find a trustworthy merchant. Please allow me to purchase some of your stainless steel as a member of the royal family. Wuming didn't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with the kingdom buying it all. After all, I'm just a merchant here to sell things, Your Royal Highness. Wuming smiled. Just call me Lana. I believe that a person who saved the kingdom's warrior captain must be a good person. Lana smiled at Wuming. This sentence surprised Wuming. After all, in Wuming's eyes, he wasn't a good person. Whether it was in Connaught, Britain, Babylon, or now Nassarik, Wuming was always protecting his own interests. In order to let Maeve let him go, Wuming promised Maeve to help him finish the war. In order to protect Britain, Wuming had done a lot of dirty things. He had thought of buying goods and murder countless times. In Babylon, with Gilgamesh there, Wuming didn't have to do too much for Babylon. However, it was also because Wuming couldn't defeat the gods of Sumer pantheon and could only bluff. Otherwise, Wuming wouldn't have left with Enkidu, who faked his death. In Nassarik, the original Nassarik people were people with a negative sense of justice. Wuming didn't ask them to change. He only advised a few people not to be too hostile towards humans. Of course, that was only towards people who were kind. As for people who were full of evil intentions and scum, even if they were killed by the people of Nassarik, Wuming wouldn't bat an eye. Wuming was such a person who was full of egoism and did as he pleased. Hearing Lana praise Wuming as a good person, Wuming was a bit absent-minded. Since it's daily, Princess Lana should also call me a Villo. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. Wuming said. Yes, Mr. Villo. Well, since they don't have any evil intentions, I don't need to care whether they miss Morgan Le Fay or not. It doesn't affect me anyway. Just like that, Wuming's merchant plan was successfully carried out. Just as Wuming and Lana were happily talking, a young man came into the room. Chapter 44. I'm very sorry, Your Highness Lana, I'm late. A young man opened the door and walked in. The young man had short blonde hair, a youthful face, and a resolute face. He was wearing white armor. Although he looked young, he gave off a very reliable feeling. Lana smiled and shook her head. It's okay, Clem. I'm here to discuss something with Mr. Jedjeff. Not to mention, Mr. Jedjeff also brought Mr. Villo Silensword, who saved Mr. Jedjeff's life in Khan village. Hearing that it was the person who saved Jedjeff's life, the young man named Clem's eyes lit up. He turned his head and looked at the only male in the room other than Jedjeff. That direct gaze made Annabelle a little unhappy. Just as Annabelle was about to say something, Wuming reached out his hand to stop her. After all, if the situation was not right, Annabelle would speak very arrogantly. He had to stop her. Is your name Clem? Do you have something to ask me? Yes, Mr. Silensword. I want to ask you how to become stronger. Clem, you're being rude. Princess Lana shouted. Jedjeff seemed to know something. He didn't say anything and just watched quietly. At this moment, no one said anything. Suddenly, a female voice was heard. You still haven't given up, boy. Everyone looked at the closed door. The voice came from outside the door. Is it Gragland? Princess Lana asked. The door was pushed open. The first to come in was a tall and sturdy blonde woman wearing red armor. It was as if a woman's head was pressed against a strong man's body. It was quite out of place. You should also stop talking, Gragland. Then came a pair of twin sisters. They were almost identical. Oh, Hina, T. Are you too interested in this virgin? Ha ha ha. Her hair was tied up with a golden broom. She wore a scarf around her neck like a mask. Her upper body was wearing armor that only covered her chest. Her lower body was in shorts. Overall, it looked like a rather revealing female ninja outfit. Their clothes were embroidered with red and blue threads and patterns respectively. The red one was Tina, and the blue one was Tia. What nonsense are you talking about? Looks like it's not suitable for you to go out today, Glenn. Following that, a petite masked woman with a spirited expression walked in. He wore a red hooded cloak over his black clothes and a mask with a red gem embedded on his forehead. Strands of golden hair peeked out from the hood and mask. All right, Gigran, Urbi Rue, this is Her Highness Guest Hall. Stop messing around. The person who spoke seemed to be the captain. She was a beautiful woman with long blonde hair. She wore red tights and a blue skirt. She wore white cloth armor on her chest, a pair of white gauntlets on her forearms, and white protective boots on her calves. Oh Hajisai, you're here. Princess Lana, on the other hand, was quite happy to see this woman who seemed to be the team leader. She stood up and ran over to hold Haggis' hand. Lana, I'm sorry to disturb you while you're talking to the warrior chief. Let me introduce you, this is the leader of Wild Rose, my friend, Haggis Elba Drew Eindora. Hello. Haggis said with a smile. This is Mr. Vilo Silensword, the one who saved Mr. Jejjeff's life in Khan Village. Next to him is Mr. Vilo's guard, Miss Annabelle. Just call me Vilo, I'm not a pedantic person. Wuming stood up and greeted Wild Rose's people. Ha ha ha, you're so cool. Are you interested in having a go with me, handsome? Gigran's rough voice came. You aphid, don't you know what you look like? You'd better go back to the furnace and be reborn first before you consider whether to serve Sir Vilo. Annabelle said mercilessly. Oh, you look so arrogant, let's go out and practice. Gigran. Annabelle. Wuming and Haggis stopped the fight at the same time. Well, let's solve Clem's problem first. At this time, Gigran returned to the topic. Kid, you want to ask the strong to tell you how to become strong again, right? Clem was silent. Gigran's rough voice continued. I've said it before, the so-called saying that you can become strong through hard work is no longer suitable for you. Although some heroes also became strong through hard work, you've worked hard enough. I believe that no one in the kingdom can be said to be more hardworking than you. Give up, kid, you can't become strong anymore. Gigran's words made Clem's face pale, but from his determined eyes, it was clear that Clem had no intention of giving up. That's true, Wuming said slowly. But, there are many ways to become strong. Wuming looked at Clem. Let me ask you, why do you want to become strong? Clem looked at Princess Lana, and then looked at Wuming. I want to become strong, to be able to protect Princess Lana. After that, there was another moment of silence. A moment later. Protect. Wuming smiled. Come out with me. After that, Wuming walked out of the room. Annabelle glanced at Clem and followed Wuming. Clem and Lana's faces were filled with joy. Could that handsome guy really make Clem stronger? Let's go out and see, Urbi Rue, who was wearing a mask, said. Rose Tsang and the others followed. In the courtyard. Wuming and Clem stood opposite each other. Don't you need a weapon? Clem asked. Wuming smiled and shook his head. Come at me with all you've got, Clem. Otherwise, you won't have the chance later. Although his words were arrogant, Wuming was not wrong. Then I'll go, Mr. Sirenhold. After that, Clem rushed forward with his sword. Clem swung his sword down, but Wuming's body swayed and dodged the attack. Seeing how easily Wuming dodged his attack, Clem swung his sword harder and faster, while Wuming continued to dodge. Clem had already swung his sword a dozen times, but none of them hit Wuming, and Wuming did not even take half a step back. Clem, have you heard of a saying? Wu Ming kept dodging Clem's attacks and said, "When a person is in danger, they will explode with unprecedented power." "Yes, I know," Clem replied. After hearing this, Wu Ming squinted his eyes. "Are you ready?" Without waiting for Clem's reply, Wu Ming released his terrifying aura. The magic power emitted from Wu Ming's body wreaked havoc on the ground around him, causing dirt to fly everywhere. Everyone present except Clem felt like they were facing a dragon, and their eyes were full of fear. Clem, who was targeted by Wu Ming's aura, was unable to move, and fear continued to erode Clem's heart. "Let me see your determination to protect." Chapter 45. No. If this goes on, I'll die, Clem thought in his heart. "I'm going," Wu Ming said calmly as he raised his seemingly normal arm. He clenched his fist and punched towards Clem at a very slow speed. Although the speed seemed slow to Clem could feel it. "If I get hit, I'll definitely die." Everyone looked at Wu Ming and Clem nervously. Although the situation was dangerous, they still believed that Wu Ming wouldn't kill Clem. Her Highness Lana, feeling his heartbeat, Clem thought about the face of the person he swore to serve for the rest of his life. Suddenly, Clem felt the chain in his body break. Paw dash. The shackles that restricted his abilities were broken. Wu Ming's fist wind formed a tornado, sweeping up the dirt on the ground. In an instant, dust filled the air. Lana, Rose-tsang, and the others stared at the dust in the courtyard without blinking, wondering what the outcome would be. Slowly, the smoke and dust dispersed, revealing the figures of two people. "Clem!" Princess Lana couldn't help but call out. Clem's posture didn't change as he stood on the spot. The sword in his hand was swung forward, held tightly by Wu Ming's other hand. Wu Ming's arm that swung out stopped beside Clem's head. Wu Ming slowly retracted his arm and smiled at Clem. "Congratulations, you've broken through your limits." This sentence was like the last straw that broke the camel's back. After Clem heard it, his body couldn't support itself and fell to the ground. Breathing heavily and feeling the pain on his body, Clem looked at the sky. He had never felt the sky was so blue before. "Even under my aura, you can still dodge and swing your sword. Seems like your awareness is quite strong, Clem." Wu Ming then took out a healing potion from Dragonist and passed it to Princess Lana. "This is a healing potion, Princess Lana. Give it to Clem." Everyone looked at the red healing potion with doubt in their hearts. After all, in this world, healing potions were all blue in color. Red potion. But under the mask of Ibiruai's face, there was a slight change. "What is it, Ibiruai?" Gejland asked Ibiruai. "No. I'm fine." After Lana fed the healing potion to Clem, everyone returned to the meeting room. Clem asked impatiently as soon as he sat down, fully recovered. "Lord Villo, just now the Villo understood Clem's doubts and asked. A person's brain will limit most of their skills to prevent damage to their body. Just now, you broke through part of the limit under my pressure, which is why your body is in so much pain." After taking a sip of the tea, Wu Ming put it down. "Now, you should be able to control the release of this restriction. You should be able to sense it yourself." "Yes, thank you very much for your guidance, Sir Villo. This humble one is eternally grateful." "Well, Virgin, you have indeed become stronger, although it was only for a moment. You should have reached the level of a platinum-level adventurer," Gejland said from the side. In this world, there was a profession called an adventurer. Wu Ming knew from the interrogation of the people from the Sunshine Holy Bible that adventurers were people who dealt with monsters. These people were similar to multi-purpose mercenaries, and were managed by the Adventurers Guild. The adventurers' level was differentiated by the rarity of the metal. The metal that symbolized their identity from lowest to highest were copper, iron, silver, gold, platinum, mithril, orichalcum, and stainless steel. Hearing this, Wu Ming reached out his hand, and a thin white knight's sword appeared in Wu Ming's hand. "Then, how about adding this?" Wu Ming tossed the knight's sword to Clem. "This is Stainless steel? Clem was confused. It's a pure stainless steel knight's sword. When everyone heard this, they were all shocked. Although a small amount of stainless steel could increase the weapon's quality, no one would use pure stainless steel to forge a weapon. Moreover, with such a large piece of stainless steel, it was hard to say if they could find a blacksmith who could forge a pure stainless steel weapon. After all, stainless steel was the hardest metal in this world. How can I, Mr. Villo? I can't accept such a valuable weapon. Clem's expression was determined not to accept it, and Rose Tsang's expression was the same. After all, no one would be so nice for no reason. Okay, just accept it. After all, I still have something to ask of Her Royal Highness. Of course, Mr. Villo. Everyone was confused. After all, accepting a request without hearing it was strange no matter how they looked at it. But after thinking about it for a while, Hagrid felt relieved. Wu Ming also looked at Princess Lana in confusion, then seemed to have thought of something. It seems that Her Royal Highness Lana values Sir Clem a lot. Princess Lana just smiled sweetly. Of course, after all, I like Clem the most. Clem's young face blushed when he heard that. Then, Her Royal Highness Lana is not afraid that I will make a request that will harm the kingdom? You must be joking. As I said before, I believe that Mr. Villo who saved His Excellency the warrior is a good person. Wu Ming waved his hand. Forget about being a good person, I just thought that Gu Jiefu was a good person, so I helped him. That's enough. Lana smiled. My request is simple, if you have any business in the future, please consider me first. No one in the conference room spoke. A moment later. Is that all, Mr. Villo? Princess Lana asked. That's all. How about it, can you accept it? Okay, no problem. But, with such a small request, you let me accept such a valuable treasure, Clem was still a little unbalanced. It's okay, Clem, just accept it, this is a reward for your determination to protect. Wu Ming smiled. Yes. Mr. Villo, I will live up to your expectations, and I will use it well. Clem accepted it quite solemnly. Looking at Rose Tsang and the others present, Wu Ming looked at Princess Lana. Then that's it for today, I'll take my leave first. Wu Ming stood up. It's really a blessing to talk with you, Mr. Villo's thinking is really advanced. It couldn't be helped. Previously, Wu Ming was discussing business matters with Princess Lana. As they talked, the topic deviated from the main topic. They even talked about the country, policies and such. Wu Ming even expressed his own opinion, which made Princess Lana very surprised. After all, Wu Ming was a modern person, and his ideology and culture were definitely more advanced. Of course, Her Royal Highness Lana's opinion surprised me, as expected of the Golden Princess. After a while, Wu Ming and Annabelle began to leave. When they walked to the gate of the courtyard, one of Rose Tsang who came to see them off suddenly shouted. Mr. Wu Ming. Wu Ming paused after hearing it, but he recovered in an instant and continued to walk forward. Wait a minute, Mr. Villo. Chapter 46. Wu Ming turned his head and looked at the person who spoke. What can I do for you, Miss Ibiruai? Ibiruai did not speak. Gejlan said quietly to Ibiruai. Hey, what's the matter, Ibiruai? Why did you suddenly stop him? Also, who is this Wu Ming that you called out earlier? After a pause, Ibiruai looked at her and said. Your Royal Highness, I would like to invite Sir Villo and Sir Gajef to join the plan. Hey, Ibiruai, Gajef is fine, but why do you want to invite the person you just met for the first time? Yes, Ibiruai, I don't agree with this idea. Wu Ming looked at her quietly and did not speak. It seems that Miss Vampire seems to know me. No, she knows, Wu Ming. It shouldn't be, I just came to this world not long ago, how could she know me? I don't have a problem with Sir Villo, but Sir Villo has just met us, and I have received Sir Villo's favor. I really shouldn't bother Sir Villo. Princess Lana looked embarrassed. I don't have a problem with that, but let's talk about it tomorrow. Don't you have something to discuss? I will visit again tomorrow. Goodbye. Wu Ming and Annabelle left. Song Rose's leader, Hoggies, asked Ibiruai. Ibiruai, what's going on? Why do you care so much about that man? It's okay, let's discuss Hachiko with Her Royal Highness first. After saying that, she went into the room, leaving a few people who didn't know what to do. On the other side, Annabelle walked behind Wu Ming and asked. Do we need to get rid of that woman? No, I really want to know where she knew my name. Wu Ming touched his chin and thought. Strictly speaking, that bottle of red healing potion and the pressure I released to train Clem have the possibility of being exposed. But, even if I'm exposed as Wu Ming, how did she know this name? That Wu Ming just now carries a lot of weight. Well, let's go back to the hotel first. I want to contact Yair Bird. Yes, Sir Wu Ming. After discussing with Princess Lana, Song Rose's group left the princess's house. On the way back, Gejlan began to ask. What's going on, Ibiruai? You're making us very worried. Hoggies, Hina, and Tia also looked at Ibiruai. My apologies, I was just thinking of a benefactor of mine. Lord Varen. You look too much like him. Ibiruai replied. Feeling Ibiruai's loneliness, Song Rose's group sighed silently in their hearts. In the hotel, Wu Ming took out the scroll called Message and was ready to contact Yair Bird. Message was a long-range communication spell, which could also be said to be a skill. There was such a spell in the library, but Wu Ming didn't learn it. Message. Wu Ming put his hand on his temple and began to contact Yair Bird. Wu Ming, Sama. Yair Bird, I have an accident here, immediately recall Sebastian and Zaisha, and prohibit the members of Nasaric from going out. I'm very sorry, Wu Ming, Sama, Zaisha betrayed us. What? Nazaric's underground tomb. A black and red circular hole appeared at the main entrance of Nazaric's surface. Wu Ming walked out of it. Annabelle was left in the Royal City Hotel by Wu Ming. Annabelle helped Wu Ming to refuse everything. The reason was that Wu Ming had some personal matters to deal with. Wu Ming stretched out his hand, and a ring appeared in his hand. After putting it on, Wu Ming launched instant transmission and disappeared. Between the thrones. Yair Bird was standing next to the throne, waiting quietly. Wu Ming instantly appeared between the thrones. Seeing Wu Ming, Yair Bird knelt on one knee. Wu Ming, Sama. Get up quickly, Yair Bird, what's going on with Zaisha's betrayal? Yair Bird stood up, waved his hands in white silk gloves a few times in the air, and a crystal screen appeared in the air. Although Nasaric has been materialized, some mechanisms can still be digitized. For example, Yair Bird pulled up the list of Nazaric's guardians. Seeing Zaisha Bradford's name in bright red, Wu Ming asked. Is this the reason for Zaisha's betrayal? That's not the reason. When you left Nasaric, I told Zaisha and Sebastian to complete the information gathering as soon as possible. Zaisha has already returned ahead of time. However, when passing by Khan village, Zaisha seemed to have encountered an enemy. After that, I couldn't contact her. That's why I checked the list of guardians and learned of Zaisha's betrayal. Wu Ming sat on the throne, looked at Zaisha's bright red name, which was different from the other guardians' white names, and fell into deep thought. If I'm not mistaken, the enemy should be from the Celian theocracy. I deduced the same thing when I discussed with Demiurgos, but because of Lord Wu Ming's orders, I didn't send troops to Khan village to check. Send the highest level assassin to the vicinity of Khan village to check the situation. Understood. Yair Bedard left. A moment later, Yair Bedard returned to the throne. Lord Wu Ming, Zaisha is fully armed and stopped on the plains near Khan village. We sent our subordinates to question her, but Zaisha didn't answer as if she was unconscious. Our initial judgment is that Zaisha is under mind control. To be able to affect the undead who are immune to mind control, the other party has at least a world-class item, Wu Ming analyzed after pondering for a moment. Wu Ming frowned. Although Wu Ming was much stronger than these level 100 NPCs, if he could control Zaisha's mind, Wuming did not dare to say that it was ineffective against him. The 8-limb blade assassin bugs didn't find an ambush in the vicinity, but we can't be sure that the other party isn't monitoring Zaisha. Yair Bedard, what's the solution to being under mind control with a world-class item? Yair Bedard thought for a moment before replying. I'm afraid the only solution is to kill Zaisha and revive her. However, I can't guarantee that she will recover after being revived. Wuming fell into deep thought. As expected, mental labor isn't suitable for me. Yair Bedard. Yes. Gather the guardians. I have something to say. Understood. Soon, a group of guardians gathered in the throne hall, including Sebastian, who had already returned. Dear guardians, I'm sure all of you know that Zaisha is under mind control. Wuming said calmly. I want to ask, do you have a way to remove the mind control on Zaisha without killing her? Chapter 47. Looking at the silent guardians, Wuming thought to himself. It seems that I can only kill Zaisha. I'm very sorry, Wuming-sama, we can't solve the problem for you. It's a crime worthy of death. Demiurgos said in a serious tone. Don't say that, Demiurgos. I'm too harsh. After all, that's the effect of a world-class item, and it's not so easy to remove. Wuming shook his head. First, I want to give you the world-class item. Wuming's words were shocking, and the guardians immediately knelt down and bowed their heads. Demiurgos, you know the reason, right? Demiurgos still knelt on one knee and bowed his head. Yes, Wuming-sama. Wuming-sama gave us the world-class item to prevent us from being affected by the enemy's world-class item. Wuming nodded. Demiurgos is still smart. With that, Wuming waved his hand. A sword, a cup, a large scroll, and a pair of gloves appeared in the air and fell to the hands of Cositas, Yuri, Mare, and Demiurgos. Because Yair Bade already has the world-class item Infernal Abyss, I won't give you the world-class item this time. Yes, Wuming-sama. Yair Bade said with a regretful look. The names of these 4 items are Blade of Billions, Cup of Zaisha, Mountain River Map, and Avarice and Desireless. I will tell you how to use them and their effects after the meeting. Thank you, Wuming-sama, for giving us these treasures. We will not hesitate to go through fire and water for you. Several people said at the same time. One more thing, I'm going to fight Zaisha alone. How can that be, Wuming-sama? Please think twice, Wuming-sama. Wuming-sama. Silence. Wuming shouted. We can't be sure if the other party will suddenly use a teleportation spell to teleport over. Moreover, we can't guarantee our chances of victory if you guys go. Most importantly, you are like newborn children. I am someone who has accepted your loyalty. How can I let you kill each other? Lord Wuming, since you've already made your decision, as your subordinates, we shouldn't say anything more. However, please promise us that you'll return safely, Yair Bade said. I agree. In Wuming's bedroom. Wuming placed many props in front of him. It feels like I'm raiding a dungeon. Seriously, how can someone like me, who has experienced many battles, be used to preparing for a one-on-one battle like a game? As mentioned before, after Nasaric transformed into a physical body, he retained some of his digitized parts. For example, Nazaric's members could use magic to detect a target's HP and MP, and Yair Abed could also manage Nasaric through the system. Sure enough, it's more suitable for me to fight directly. Can I determine if there are any players on the other side? At the end of the meeting, Demiurgos proposed that after a series of anti-teleportation spells, anti-detection spells, and other spells were placed near Satya, Wuming would fight Satya one-on-one. In Wuming's view, whether it was NPCs or players in Yggdrasil, their abilities were not strong. At least in Wuming's view, no one in Nasaric could defeat him without using special skills or items. The only hidden danger now was that he didn't know if the other party had any special items or skills. I can only say that it's a game. After all, without these special items or skills, the game would become boring. I guess so. After all, I don't play games very much. Wuming picked up the 2 rings in front of him and put them on his left and right fingers. The names of these 2 rings were Meteor Ring and Eternal Calamity Serpent Ring. Eternal Calamity Serpent Ring was one of the 20 world-class items. Because he wanted to guard against the opponent's world-class item effect, and because it was convenient to carry, Wuming chose this world-class item. In Yggdrasil, World Tree, the effect was to make a wish to the game company, and the effect could be extended to the whole game. Of course, whether the content of the wish could be approved was another matter. After transforming into a physical body, the effect of the ring became, make a wish, a real wish. However, because of the special effect of disappearing and randomly appearing in a corner of the world after using it, Wuming didn't dare to use it casually. At most, he would only use it when he was in danger. Meteor Ring, on the other hand, could cast the super magic wish to the stars unconditionally. The effect had 3 weakened versions of the wish skill, and there were many restrictions. After 3 wishes were made, there would be a long cooldown period. It could be said that it was an item that could determine the winner. After all, Wuming didn't have many ultimate skills. Other than Yggdrasil, and X Silver, Meteor Silver, S Noble Phantasm, Wuming had no other skills that could be considered as his ultimate skill. Enkidu has been sleeping since he first came to this world. Most of the magic Wuming learned couldn't be used as ultimate skills. After all, the magic stored in the library was either magic books with a limited number of times or written materials that couldn't be learned. The skills Wuming learned, such as Dragon Thunder and Heavenly Fire, were useful against the natives, but they didn't have much effect on Zaisha, a level 100 NPC. Ah, my head hurts. Sure enough, I still haven't learned it well, master. Wuming remembered his master, Skaha, who could kill a god with just a magic spear and his own martial arts. Sure enough, I'm still too inexperienced. My bloodline ability is basically harmless. For example, Wuming's origin dragon bloodline ability, time travel adaptability, powerful physique, endless magic power, and transformation effect of Calamity Dragon. Suddenly, Wuming felt a message in his mind. Wuming put his hand on his temple. What's wrong, Yerbade? Master Wuming, some humans who look like adventurers are approaching Zaisha. Understood. Stay put, I'll go check the situation. Master Wuming, don't you need guards? No, to avoid misunderstandings, you can continue to hide near Zaisha. Yes, Master. Wuming disconnected the communication and lay on the bed. When it rains, it pours. I hope those adventurers can retreat on their own. As the portal closed, Wuming appeared on the plain near Khan village. So, those are the adventurers who are approaching? Wuming looked at the adventurers coming toward him. Wuming took out Yggdrasil and threw it into the air. After a while, Funbaba appeared behind Wuming. Those adventurers also seemed to have seen Wuming and Funbaba, and they all stopped for a while. 3 people who seemed to be captains came over. Are you the captains of the adventurers who came to crusade against the vampire? Yes, I'm Parodi from Sirius. These 2 are Moknak from Rainbow and Igvaki from Kraugla. May I ask who you are? A young man with a determined look said. I'm the vampire's summoner. Because of an accident, I lost control. Please go back. This is not something you can intervene in. But, even if you say so. Parodi had a troubled expression on his face. Don't waste your breath on him. Igvaki said. Who knows, maybe he's actually here to steal our credit. He thinks that he can do whatever he wants just because he has a good-looking magical beast. To be honest, Funbaba was not tall, and it looked gentle, but it did not mean that Funbaba would not kill. Funbaba raised its leg, and in an instant, a huge man-eating flower appeared at Igvaki's feet. In an instant, Igvaki was eaten by the man-eating flower before he could even make a sound. Parodi and Moknak put their hands on their weapons with a solemn expression. I'm in a bad mood. Persuading you to leave is for your own good. Do you have to make an example of me? Ah. Wu Ming released the aura of a giant dragon. The wind pressure caused by his aura overturned the adventurers in the distance, and Parodi and Moknak in front of him were unconscious. Wu Ming slowly retracted his aura. Ever since Silent Wonder turned into a dragon, he had mastered an invisible pressure similar to draconic aura. This could be considered a blessing in disguise. Looking at the hurried and orderly retreat, Wu Ming turned around and walked toward Satya. Chapter 48. Looking at Satya, who was wearing red armor and holding a strange spear, Wu Ming couldn't help but think of Satya's information. Fortunately, I checked Satya's information, equipment, and skills before. I have to deal with Satya quickly. Satya's armor was legendary level armor, and her weapon was a divine artifact level special weapon, Dropper Spear. Dropper Spear could heal itself by inflicting damage to the opponent in a certain proportion, which could be said to be a miracle in a protracted battle. According to the information, Satya also had a resurrection item. In that case, I have to kill Satya twice. Sigh, I really don't want to experience killing my subordinates again. When Wu Ming was a knight, he once had a subordinate who was infected by a monster. At his subordinate's request, Wu Ming had to kill him. Wu Ming, Sama, hearing that voice, Wu Ming looked at his arm. Enkidu, are you awake? Well, because Wu Ming, Sama is upset, I woke up to see if there is any way to help you. I appreciate your kindness, but I don't think you can do anything about it. Wu Ming couldn't find any other way to remove Satya's mind control other than killing her. Wu Ming, Sama, maybe I can give it a try. Oh, really, little Enkidu. Wu Ming was so excited that he called out Wu Ming's pet name for Enkidu. Yes, Wu Ming, Sama, I was originally a chain connecting heaven and earth. Of course, I have a way to break the chain. If possible, Wu Ming, Sama can connect me to Satya, and I should be able to remove the negative effect. But little Enkidu, why didn't I know you have this ability? Wu Ming asked strangely. After all, Wu Ming was also a Uruk native, and he knew about the heaven lock. It's strange. After I came to this world with Wu Ming, Sama, I began to change, which is why I fell into a deep sleep. I'm sorry, little Enkidu, there is no way to lift the curse on your body. When Enkidu was cursed by the gods, Wu Ming only took away Enkidu's soul, and his body was indeed dead. Therefore, Enkidu couldn't show his body, and could only accompany Wu Ming in the form of heaven lock. It's alright, Lord Wu Ming. Enki is very happy to be able to be tied to Lord Wu Ming like this. Wu Ming touched Enkidu hidden on his arm and didn't say anything. Little Enkidu, my first battle in this world. Let's go. Yes. Wu Ming, Sama. High-level item creation. A white light flashed, and a white armor appeared on Wu Ming's body. That was the silver dragon armor that Wu Ming used in Britain. Funbaba. Wu, Funbaba changed, and a silver-white spear flew in the air. As if it was calculated, Wu Ming stretched out his hand and firmly grabbed the spear. Yggdrasil. The silver-white spear slowly melted like liquid, attached to Wu Ming's left hand, forming a silver-white left-hand armor. Then Wu Ming stretched out his hand, and a white hole appeared on the right side of his body, and the hilt of a sword slowly came out of it. Wu Ming held the hilt with his right hand and pulled it out. The silver-white holy sword appeared in Wu Ming's right hand. Heavenly fire. The white flame attached to the silver holy sword. Then I'll start first, Satya. Wu Ming held the sword with both hands and raised it above his head. Although it was daytime, there was a trace of starlight in the sky, and the starlight began to gather on the sword. Silver, meteor, silver. The white holy sword gathered the light, and the moment the real name was shouted, the light overflowed. A huge silver-white beam of light rose into the sky, and the silver-white beam of light continued to expand, covering a few kilometers in an instant. 1/3 of the nearby forest was destroyed, and Khan village was almost affected. Gradually, the light disappeared, revealing the ground that was more than 10 meters deep as if it was baptized by a nuclear bomb. The guardians in the conference hall who watched with a long-end perspective mirror were surprised. This is It's comparable to the destructive power of supreme magic. As expected of Wuming Sama. Demiurgos pushed his glasses and said with a trembling voice. That seems to be the attack launched by Wuming Sama's weapon. Is it a world-class item owned by Wuming Sama? Cositas opened his mouth. Cositas, who had dozens of weapons, could clearly see that this wasn't Wuming's skill, but a weapon. Such a powerful blow, as expected of my lover, Wuming Sama. Yair did not show her infatuation side, but with a rather calm expression. Satya Sama shouldn't be able to withstand Wuming Sama's attack. It should be Wuming Sama's victory. Although Sebastian was a level 100 NPC, he still called the Guardian Sama. Yuz and Mare, who were on the edge of a nearby cliff, were covered in dust. Phew, that was close, we were almost finished. Wuming Sama is really powerful, isn't he, sister? That's right. If Yuz and Mare had not activated their special skills in time, they might have ended up like Satya. Wuming looked at X Silver, Meteor Silver, and scratched his head awkwardly. I accidentally used too much magic power, ha ha. What should I say, Lord Wuming? Enkidu, who was on Wuming's left arm, sighed. I can't help it. Ever since I turned back into a dragon, I haven't used my noble artifact. Who knew that its power would increase so much? This was also the bloodline advantage of the root dragon, the qualitative increase in magic power. The same magic power, but the current one was much purer than before. She should be fine. Satya, just as Wuming was discussing Satya, a burst of laughter was heard. Ha, isn't this Lord Wuming? As expected of the Supreme Wuming, Lord Wuming, who killed me instantly. Fortunately, I still have a resurrection item. Lord Wuming, ha. Sure enough, I've already killed Satya once. What a big mistake. Since I turned into a dragon, the quality of my magic power has greatly improved. Coupled with the bonus of the Tier 9 spell, Heavenly Fire, the power of X Silver's noble artifact is really amazing. Wuming shook his head and looked at Satya with his eyes hidden under the helmet. I'm sorry, Satya, I accidentally killed you. No, Lord Wuming, you don't need to apologize, because you just need to let me kill you. Ha. Looking at Satya, who was laughing wildly, Wuming couldn't help but think. Is he really mentally ill? If that's the case, Shaoan. Yes. The silver chain appeared on Wuming's left gauntlet, and the chain seemed to be endless, shooting toward Satya. Such a simple attack, Lord Wuming, why did you use it? Satya instantly used the flying ability of her armor to avoid the entanglement of Enkidu. Is that so, Satya? What about this? The sound of chains colliding could be heard as white holes similar to spatial doors appeared in the air around Satya, surrounding her. Greater teleport. Don't even think about it. Wuming was already prepared. Wuming instantly tore the scroll from Dragonist. What? Greater teleport doesn't work, is it dimensional lock? Yes, it's dimensional lock that can restrain teleport. Enkidu. In an instant, Enkidu extended from each white space and bound Satya. Damn it. Einherjar. As Satya chanted the spell, a white light flew out of Satya's body. After the white light took shape, it was a figure exactly the same as Satya, but this figure was completely white. Einherjar summoned by this skill only had the physical ability of the original body, and it could not use magic or skills. Einherjar rushed toward Wuming, but Satya knew very well that Einherjar was no match for Wuming. Struggling to break free from Enkidu, Satya activated magic essence and began to check Wuming's magical power. What she saw was a huge amount of magical power gushing out like a bottomless pit. As expected of the supreme being of the great underground tomb of Nasaric. You can be said to be an invincible existence, Lord Wuming. On the other side, Wuming activated another noble phantasm. Noble Phantasm Liberation, Yggdrasil. A large number of branches quickly grew from Wuming's left hand, entangling Satya's Einherjar. Absorb, Yggdrasil. The Einar jar gradually faded until it completely disappeared. So, what should you do now, Satya? Chapter 49. Ah, Wuming Sama, what kind of artifact is this chain of yours? I even used impure impact shield, but I still couldn't break your shackles. Although she said that, Zaisha's expression was very anxious. Enkidu, let's start. Try to get in touch with Satya's mind control. Yes, Master Wuming. The silver-white chain wrapped around Satya began to glow, and Satya struggled and screamed in pain. Ah! Listening to Satya's screams, Wuming couldn't help but clench his fists. Although Wuming hadn't been in charge of Nasaric for long, not even a month, Wuming was very fond of his subordinates, who were like newborn babies. Since he gained benefits, he had to bear the responsibility. That was what Wuming thought when he became the ruler of Nasaric. Now, Wuming has regarded the people of Nasaric as his family, friends, and children. Wuming called it a trip, and to put it bluntly, he was homeless. Although it was a short time, compared to living in the strange outside world, Nasaric, which was full of monsters, gave Wuming a sense of belonging. After all, Wuming was not human. After a while, Satya fainted, and the chain stopped glowing. How is it, little Enkidu? Should be, okay. Wuming heard Enkidu's voice and felt something was wrong, so he quickly asked. What's wrong, little Enkidu? Are you okay? I'm fine. Master Wuming. I'm still not used to the changes in Enkidu, plus I forced myself to wake up before. I might fall asleep again. Sorry. Master Wuming, it's okay, little Enkidu, you don't have to apologize. I'm really lucky to have you by my side. Enkidu didn't say anything else. Sensing the weakening of Enkidu's mana, Wuming knew that Enkidu had fallen asleep again. Wuming jumped up and hugged the unconscious Satya. He stroked Satya's face and said, Go to sleep, everything will be fine. As if she had heard him, Xia Tai's slightly nervous face gradually relaxed. Nasaric Conference Room. As expected, Sir Wuming's victory is beyond doubt. Cositas exhaled a breath of cold air as he spoke. It seems that I don't need to prepare materials for Satya's revival. As expected of Lord Wuming. Dimagos adjusted his glasses. Regardless of whether Wuming had come into contact with Satya's mind control, he had already captured Satya alive, so there was no need to prepare for her resurrection. Then, let's welcome the master that we will serve forever, guardians, said Yair Bade. Pardon my rudeness, but I won't be going. I have to prepare food for the returning Lord Wuming. I remember that Lord Wuming strongly requested not to eat potatoes last time. I have to inform the chef. With that, Sebastian bowed and left. Wuming landed on the ground with the unconscious Satya in his arms. He looked at Yal and Ma Lei who were walking toward him. I'm sorry, Yal, Ma Lei. I didn't hurt you just now, did I? It's okay, it's okay. I didn't expect Lord Wuming, who had been keeping a low profile in Nasaric, to be so powerful. Anne. Powerful. Anne. Gentle. Wuming smiled and shook his head. I'm still far from that. You must know that no matter what, there's no end to it. To be honest, Wuming didn't expect a noble artifact to be so powerful. After all, Wuming didn't use a noble artifact many times. The few times that he did, it was because his opponent also used a noble artifact or because his opponent was unmatched without a noble artifact. Thinking about it carefully, it wasn't strange. Noble artifacts were known as the trump cards of heroic spirits. Putting aside the strength of heroic spirits, just the word trump card showed the importance of a noble artifact. By the way, Yal. Wuming looked at Yal and asked, the anti-detection magic is working, right? Yes, Lord Wuming. Although Lord Wuming's attack destroyed most of the magic, I repaired it in time, so there's no problem. Then, as if he thought of something, Wuming said to Ma Lei, don't make any changes to the traces of the battle here. It can serve as a deterrent. Yes. Yes. Lord Wuming. Then, let's go. Yes, Lord Wuming. X2, between the thrones, in the audience hall. Yair bade, Demiurgos, Cositas, Sebastian, and the others had been waiting for a long time. Wuming carried Xiataya while the dark elf twins followed behind him. Lord Wuming. Congratulations on your victorious return. Looking at the guardians, including the twins, who were kneeling on one knee, Wuming said, Rise, guardians. Yes, Lord Wuming. Yair bade, check Xiataya's status. Yes, Lord. Yair bade slid his finger in the air and opened a virtual window. Yair bade slid his finger. When he saw Xiataya's name turn from red to white, he heaved a sigh of relief. There's no problem, Lord Wuming. Xiataya's name has turned white. How about this? Bring Xiataya to the room on the 9th floor to rest. During this time, arrange for many monsters above level 90 to guard her and set up many magic traps to prevent Xiataya from going berserk. This. Lord Wuming, to let the servants step into the residence of the supreme beings. Yair bade had an inappropriate expression. It's fine. The other supreme beings won't blame you. Carry out the order. Yes, Lord. Speaking of which, it was strange. Ever since Wuming came to Nasaric, the 9th floor of Nazaric's underground graveyard had been deserted. No, it should be said that this was more befitting of the graveyard's name. In fact, there were quite a lot of people on the 9th floor. There were 41 level 1 android maids, as well as a group of service staff in bars, restaurants, and hot springs. However, these people only moved around in their own areas and never came out. Thus, only the guardians were left to move around freely. In fact, it was also because each floor of Nasaric was too big. Perhaps it was because Wuming and Nasaric had temporarily fused. Nasaric was not as big as the information indicated. Instead, it was much bigger than the information indicated. Other than the surface of Nasaric, which did not change much, the 1st to 10th floors of Nasaric had expanded a lot. According to Wuming's speculation, the largest floor was even comparable to the size of a city. I'm a little tired. Let's go back and rest. Sebastian, is the food ready? Of course, Lord Wuming. It's all ready. I also specially told the chef to reject all potato products. Speaking of potatoes, Wuming recalled the fear of being dominated by Gawain in Britain. Well done, Sebastian. For the supreme beings, I won't hesitate. Following the conversation, Wuming and Sebastian stepped into the restaurant. Chapter 50. Wuming looked at the ceiling as he lay on the bed and covered himself with a blanket. Seriously, it's tough being the ruler of Nasaric. Is that why I can't be a king? Because of Satya's incident, Wuming fell into deep thought. Well, I finally know the difficulties of Maeve, Lia, and Gil. Wuming raised his right hand and looked at the ring of Ains Wurgong on his finger. Ains Wurgong. I'm now the king of the devil creatures. To think that I, the holy root dragon, have become the king of the devil creatures. Not bad, he. Wuming put down his hand and closed his eyes. Sleep, sleep, I must fully enjoy this beautiful moment. Just like that, Wuming fell asleep under the protection of the devil creatures. The next day, in the audience hall between the thrones. Looking at the empty hall, Wuming spoke in boredom. In that case, although Satya's mind control has been lifted, there's still a trace of a problem. Wuming sat on the throne and leaned sideways against the back of the throne. He supported his face with his right hand and looked as if he had not slept well. It's called a problem, but it's just that after Satya woke up, she remembered that she fought against the Supreme Honorable and felt ashamed, Yair Bird said. In that case, give Satya an appropriate punishment. Wuming scratched his cheek. As expected of the Supreme Honorable. Our master is a great being who rewards and punishes clearly. Yair Bird knelt on one knee and placed his right hand on his heart. Get up, Yair Bird. Speaking of which, does Satya have any information on the enemy? Even the slightest bit would be good. At this point, Wuming's lazy gaze became like a terrifying beast and emitted a dangerous aura. Yes, Lord Wuming. Because of your special item, Satya still retains her original memory. In the report submitted by Satya, it is very likely that the other party is from Celian theocracy. Yair Bird stood up and crossed his hands on his abdomen. The other party appeared near Khan village where Lord Wuming dealt with Sunshine Grimoire, and according to Satya, the other party is a faith magic chanter. In addition, the other party has a world-class item that we don't know about that can even affect the undead who are immune to mind control. The other party is probably a special unit of Celian theocracy, the Dark Grimoire. The Dark Grimoire? It seems to be mentioned in the information extracted from the Sunshine Grimoire's Captain Negan. Wuming looked at Yair Bird. 600 years ago, the six gods suddenly appeared, led human beings to establish a country, protected human beings, and left behind treasures. Wuming stood up and stretched his body. Maybe the so-called six great gods are actually Yggdrasil's players, and the so-called treasure is actually Yggdrasil's item. If that's the case, then it's not unacceptable that the other party has a world-class item that can even control a level 100 NPC's mind. Wuming stood in front of the throne with his hands on his chest and closed his eyes as if he was thinking about something. Well, let Sebastian go and meet with Annabelle. Sebastian will announce to the public that he is my butler. Well, let Sebastian and Annabelle work together to help Golden Princess and Rose Tsangwei. If necessary, they can show their strength without revealing Nazarik's information. Yes, Lord Wuming. So that's how it is. Lord Wuming wants to control that country? It seems that I have to discuss it with Demiurgos. Yair Bade thought. Also, let Demiurgos and Yair go to the southwest of the kingdom. There is a country called Holy Kingdom there. Try to get involved with that country and let Demiurgos act according to the circumstances. Try not to be too ostentatious. As for the humans you meet, don't hurt those with integrity. Deal with the scum on your own. Yes, Lord Wuming, do you have any other orders? Yair Bade asked. Well, Sebastian is in charge of everything in the kingdom, including killing people. You must follow Sebastian's judgment. Demiurgos is in charge of everything in the Holy Kingdom. Try not to kill people. Yes, Lord Wuming, I will pass the message. After Yair Bade left, Wuming also began to move. Celian theocracy, I'll meet you. Wuming once again showed that kind of excited smile. This time, Wuming was going to go to the theocracy alone. Because he was afraid that Yair Bade would object, Wuming didn't even say anything. As for the reason for going to the theocracy, first, he must ask for an explanation about Satya's matter. Second, Wuming was now very interested in the Celian theocracy. To be on the safe side, Wuming also deliberately pulled up the information in his mind to see if there were any world-class items with special abilities. On the Kaz plain, a huge green monster was running constantly. Wuming rode on the back of Funbaba. Sigh, I'm sorry to always let you be my means of transportation, Funbaba. Woo, yes, I know, I will let you move more in the future. After crossing the Kaz plain, Wuming entered the theocracy's border. After a series of inspections, Wuming successfully entered the Celian theocracy. After inquiring about the location of the Celian theocracy's capital from the old man, he rushed there. In a hotel in the Celian theocracy's capital, Wuming was still looking through some of the information in his mind. World's will, it is said that as long as you have it, you will always become stronger. Is it true or not? Devastating beauty can forcibly control one's mind. Well, it seems that this should be what controlled Satya. Holy Slayer's lance can completely delete the target character's data. There is no other way except for using world-class items with resurrection effect. This is more dangerous, after all, I don't know if this thing has any effect on me. Just when Wuming was still thinking, a large number of people with a trace of hostility appeared in Wuming's perception range. Huh. Did they find me so soon? As expected of the Xilian theocracy with world-class items. In fact, Wuming didn't hide his aura at all. Even ordinary people will find that Wuming has a sense of oppression, let alone the elites who can stay in the capital. Since they are already here, I have to go out and meet them. Wuming got up and walked downstairs slowly. On the empty street where the crowd has been evacuated, Wuming put on the knight's armor that he created with high-grade item creation, and looked at the other party's leader hidden under the helmet. It was a young man with a gun, who seemed to be a teenager. So, what can I do for you? Wuming asked. Excuse me, are you Wuming Sama, Root Dragon King? Chapter 51. Hearing the other party's question, Wuming did not answer but fell into deep thought. What's going on? Not only did Urbiruai know that Wuming was looking for someone, but he also suspected that I'm Wuming. The people in the theocracy also know, but I just arrived in this world not long ago. Wuming looked at the young man who asked the question in front of him. What about you? Who are you? Wuming declined the other party's question implicitly. I'm the lead disciple of Dark Scripture in Xilian theocracy, code name is Dark Scripture, Wuming Sama. Seeing the other party bowed politely, Wuming spoke again. So, Dark Boy, you know about the vampire near Ylanter, right? Yes, Wuming Sama, we found it when we passed by there, and we lost 3 people because of it. Very well, that's my subordinate. Don't you want to explain? Dark Scripture's lead disciple clearly perceived that the other party was constantly exuding a dragon-like pressure to the surroundings. I'm sorry, Wuming Sama, because you disappeared for too long, so we don't know much about your new subordinate, please forgive us. New subordinate. Do I have any old subordinates? Wuming's expression did not change at all, but his heart was already in a mess. Okay. Then take my blow. As he spoke, Wuming took out X Silver, Meteor Silver, from Dragonist, Dragon's Nest, and raised it above his head with one hand. In an instant, a large amount of starlight gathered from the endless blue sky into the sword. Wuming Sama. Please calm down. The lead disciple shouted nervously at Wuming, and the young man's subordinates also picked up their weapons, although they didn't have much effect. At the same time, they also sent a message to the higher-ups of Xilian theocracy. Take this sword that's comparable to supreme magic, and I will leave. With that, the light on the holy sword stopped gathering. Shine. Meteor. X Silver, Meteor Silver, the dazzling diamond-like starlight instantly drowned out the pitch-black scripture and also drowned out the tall building in the center of the capital that Wuming was aiming at, the main church. A large number of citizens of the Xilian cult's capital were temporarily blinded by the bright starlight. A moment later, after the white light, the pitch-black cannon and the large number of theocracy personnel in front of Wuming had disappeared. However, Wuming did not feel the sacred sword sweeping past them. He assumed that the sacred sword had used a legendary spell. Looking at the dilapidated Syrian church, Wuming said calmly. Can you defend against one of my attacks? Although I didn't use much strength. With that, Wuming turned around and prepared to leave the capital of the Xilian cult. Due to Wuming's deliberate control, other than the street and the church in front of Wuming being destroyed, the residential buildings were not damaged at all. As expected, due to the release of my dragon body in advance, the precision of my magic power control has increased by quite a bit. Wuming took out Yggdrasil and aimed it at the sky. A green energy began to spread throughout the entire capital of the Xilian cult. No matter what, it's because of me that you have all been indirectly blinded. I'm really sorry. A large amount of life force was injected into the bodies of all the citizens in the capital. This should be enough. It's time to go. At that moment, Wuming felt that something had locked onto him. Wuming turned around and saw a huge light spear flying out from the destroyed church. Wuming frowned. He could feel the threat of the light spear, but it was not serious. A world-class tool. A large number of thick trees surged up from the ground and formed a wooden wall. The light spear pierced through the wooden wall layer by layer without any decrease in strength. The light spear completely pierced through the wooden wall and hit Wu Ming directly. The light spear turned into a light film, enveloping Wu Ming, and Wu Ming's body began to disappear. Just when the Si Lien cult's higher-ups hiding in the ruins of the church relaxed, the light film shattered. The shattered light turned into a little golden light and dissipated into the air. This should be the Holy Slayer's lance. Wu Ming looked at his hand that was not wearing a single ring and smiled. Sure enough, even without a world-class tool, a mere game tool can't destroy me as the root dragon. After all, the adult root dragon's roots and time were its home. How could a mere tool transformed from a game into reality affect Wu Ming, even if Wu Ming was an underage root dragon? Wu Ming looked at the Si Lien cult's higher-ups as if he could see through the wall. So, here comes the revenge. Wu Ming raised Yggdrasil and wanted to release its real name. At that moment, Wu Ming seemed to hear something and put away Yggdrasil. You're lucky. After saying that, Wu Ming left the capital of Si Lien cult without looking back, leaving behind a group of confused residents who felt as if they were in a dream and a group of terrified higher-ups. After Wu Ming left the capital of Si Lien cult, he immediately moved to the northwest. After tearing the flight scroll, Wu Ming flew into the sky and flew toward the Ristage kingdom. Soon Wu Ming arrived at the sky above the kingdom, but Wu Ming did not stop and continued to move toward the northwest of the kingdom. That was the most northwest country on the continent, known as the Grand Kingdom. It was a country built by the demi-humans, located in the north of the Ristage kingdom, northwest of the continent. It had a long history and strong national power. It was said that there were 5 or 7 dragons as counselors. The reason Wu Ming returned here was because someone had sent a message to Wu Ming through message magic. Come to the Grand Kingdom, partner. I will tell you everything you have doubts about. Wu Ming sensed the message and map left behind by the other party and arrived at a cave. After entering the cave, Wu Ming found a teleportation magic circle in the deepest part of the cave. Wu Ming activated the magic circle. After a flash of white light, Wu Ming found himself in a large palace, as if he had been in the palace of Babylon. And on a huge platform in front of Wu Ming, a huge white dragon was lying on it. Are you the one who called me? The dragon raised its head and looked at Wu Ming. Sure enough, you don't know me at this time, partner. Judging by your tone, we are very close, Wu Ming asked. Ha ha ha, of course, we are partners who have gone through life and death together. No, master. This surprised Wu Ming. Then, let me guess, is it because of the time travel magic? As expected of you, partner. According to the you I know, you came from 700 years later. 700 years later. Wu Ming was puzzled. As far as I know, the 6 great gods from 600 years ago, the 8 desires king from 500 years ago, the demon god from 200 years ago, and the 13 heroes should all be transmigrators. The dragon said to Wu Ming. Yes, that's right. You told me that back then. And there were other transmigrators 400 years ago, 300 years ago, and 100 years ago, but their strength and character were inferior, and they were all destroyed by us. Wu Ming looked at the dragon. This is really interesting. What about me? Did I leave? To be precise, you left 100 years ago. Except for the era of the 6 great gods, the 8 desires king, and the 13 heroes when you woke up, the rest of the time you were asleep because you were about to leave your childhood. Oh. Then I'm going to be an adult. Wu Ming was a little excited. After all, the root dragon's childhood was too long ago. The dragon smiled. No, you've entered your youth. That's what you said yourself. For a moment, Wu Ming felt like the world was joking. Let's not talk about this first. Why did you stop me from destroying the silent theocracy? And why did you call me here today? To tell me my future? Unfortunately, you guessed wrong. Neither. There was a smug smile on the dragon's face. It was an expression of, you finally have something you can't guess. I'm going to return the uninscribed book to you today. Chapter 52. Uninscribed Incantation Book. Wu Ming was puzzled. Yes, this is what you entrusted me to give to you now when I first met you, partner. The dragon opened its mouth, and a glowing sphere flew out of the dragon's mouth. It was a book, a slightly quaint and mysterious book with black and red decorations. Wu Ming looked at the book with some disgust. Will it have your bad breath? The dragon instantly felt powerless. Hurry up and take it, and then hurry up. Really, I'm going to sleep. Wu Ming held the book and watched as the giant dragon lowered its head. It was as if it had fallen asleep and did not make a sound. What a strange temper, no wonder it sleeps alone in this broken place. When Silent Wonder saw the word V appear above the dragon's head, he stood on the teleportation array and left the area. After a while, the dragon raised its head and looked at the teleportation circle where Wu Ming left. What a mysterious master. After that, it fell asleep again. Walking out of the cave, Wu Ming looked at the two of them reading the book in their hands, and he didn't know what they were thinking. By the way, I haven't asked the dragon's name yet. Forget it, let's talk about it later. Anyway, I will definitely meet it again. Portal. Wu Ming directly opened the portal connecting to Nasarick and walked in. The portal's range must be a place he has been to, or a place he has seen, or an image in his mind, otherwise, it couldn't be used. But in a sense, the portal was also a unique skill. After all, as long as there was an image of that place in his mind, he could teleport at will, which could be regarded as a bug-like skill. Back to the 10th floor of Nasarick. Between the throne, in the audience hall. Walking out of the portal, Wu Ming sat on the throne, opened the uninscribed incantation book given by the dragon, and began to read the book. This book would turn to a specific page according to the user's thoughts, that was to say, the user didn't need to turn the pages by himself. Shortly after Wu Ming read it, the door of the audience hall opened. As the door opened, a large number of Nasarick personnel poured into the audience hall. This gave Wu Ming a fright. Lord Wu Ming. Lord Wu Ming, where have you been? Lord Wu Ming, we were very worried about you. Looking at the worried expressions of the guardians, Wu Ming sighed. I'm sorry for going out without telling you. It's my fault for making you worry. Wu Ming's apology made the guardians and the magical creatures they brought in tremble. They quickly knelt on one knee and lowered their heads. How could that be? Lord Wu Ming, we spoke rudely to you, but you didn't punish us. Instead, you apologized to us. This is the fault of us guardians. Please punish us, Lord Wu Ming, Yair said. Please punish us, Lord Wu Ming, the other guardians and monsters said in unison. Wu Ming smiled helplessly. These guys were good at everything, but they were too loyal. They couldn't tolerate any disrespect to him. Then our previous mistakes will cancel each other out. Looking at Yair, who seemed to want to object, Wu Ming said again, it's settled, no objections. Yes, Lord Wu Ming. So. Wu Ming picked up the uninscribed book in his hand and ordered everyone in front of him, guardians, gather in the conference room, the rest of you are free to do whatever you want. Yes, Lord Wu Ming. A moment later, in the conference room. Wu Ming sat on the office chair, supporting his head with his right hand on the large desk. Sebastian. Yes, Lord Wu Ming. Sebastian bent over and put his hand on his heart. How is the kingdom's situation? Master Wu Ming, the thing that Golden Princess wanted to ask you to do is to eradicate Hachiko, an underground organization that integrates smuggling, drugs, slave trading, assassinations, bodyguards, and other activities. It is said that they have infiltrated the kingdom. After seeing the power of Nasarick, Golden Princess, and Rose Tsangwei entrusted me and Annabelle to eliminate Hachiko. They offered a high price, and with your permission, I helped them eliminate Hachiko. Sebastian looked at Wu Ming and said. Actually, Lord Wu Ming, there is one thing I didn't ask for your permission. It's okay, Sebastian, you can say it now. Wu Ming crossed his hands and put them on his chin. I saved a girl during the crusade against Hachiko, and I want to take her back to Nasarick. Oh, did she agree? Wu Ming asked. Yes, Lord Wu Ming, she has no home. Although she still has a younger sister, she doesn't want to remember the past because of psychological reasons. She also asked you to let Chialiai live in Nasarick. I agree, Sebastian, but how about letting her be a maidservant? It's all up to Lord Wuming, Sebastian said. That's it. Sebastian, you will convey the message to Chialiai, and at the same time, inform all Nasarick. I now appoint Chialiai as Sebastian's personal maidservant, and at the same time, revoke your position as the captain of the Pleiades star cluster and let Li Alpha be the acting captain. Yes, Lord Wuming, thank you for your generosity, Lord Wuming. Sebastian bowed deeply. Also, I'll arrange something for you later. That's all for now. Demiurgos, how are you doing in the Holy Kingdom? Yes, Lord Wuming. I set up a farm at the border of the Holy Kingdom. I caught a large number of animals to test the scroll, and the result was very successful. Demiurgos knelt on one knee and said to Wuming. Animals. Well, Demiurgos, your demons should be able to see the good and evil in people's hearts. Let go of the good and keep the evil, understand? Wuming thought for a moment and realized that Demiurgos was talking about animals. After all, Wuming never heard of a large number of demonic beasts near the Holy Kingdom. There were only many types of demi-humans. Of course, Lord Wuming, because you like humans and good people, I deliberately avoided these people when I caught them. Demiurgos pushed his glasses. Well done, Demiurgos, get up. As a reward, I will give you this. At the moment when Demiurgos got up, Wuming threw the ring of Ens-Ergong to Demiurgos. This is the ring of Ens-Ergong. Lord Wuming, this is a supreme treasure that only the Supreme One can wear, how can I? Well, Demiurgos, accept it. This is your reward, understand? Yes. Lord Wuming. I will go through fire and water for Nasarick in the future. Well, y'all, I heard that you found a lizard man village on the way back? Yes, yes. Lord Wuming. Y'all raised his hand and said. Then, Cositas. Yes, Lord. Cositas exhaled cold air. Although the lizard men are useless to Nasarick, I want to see your ability, Cositas. You will go and subdue the lizard men. Yes. Lord Wuming. I will complete your task. But remember, you and your men don't fight in the first battle. I will send some soldiers to follow you. Only these soldiers can be used in the first battle. Remember? Yes, Lord Wuming. Mayor. Yes. Yes. Lord Wuming. Well, you go and cancel Nazarik's external camouflage. I will provide you with a magic array. You can use the magic on this magic array to camouflage Nasarick. After that, Wuming opened the uninscribed book. As Wuming thought, the book turned automatically and stopped at a certain page. High-level item creation. A blueprint with a high-level camouflage magic array appeared in front of Wuming. I'll leave it to you, Mayor. Yes. Yes, I will not let Lord Wuming down. Then. Satya. Yes. Lord. Seeing Satya's sad face, Wuming said. I've decided to punish you. Chapter 53. Hearing the punishment, Satya's face lit up. As for the specifics, we'll talk about it later. This confused Satya. Yair Abed. Wuming turned to look at Yair Abed. Yes, Lord Wuming. Wuming took out another ring of Anziwergong and handed it to Yair Abed. Lord Wuming, you. Although he was happy that Wuming gave him the precious ring of Anziwergong, Yair Abed was puzzled. After all, he did not make any contributions. I've decided to leave Nasarick temporarily and head to the other world. So, I've decided to give you this ring to manage Nasarick while I'm away. How can that be, Lord Wuming? You should let my protectors lead the way to the other world, Yair Abed shouted. That's right, Lord Wuming. It's too dangerous for you to go personally, Demiurgos added. Seeing the worried expressions of the protectors, Wuming smiled. There's no helping it. I'm the only one who can traverse worlds with the staff of Anziwergong. At most, I can bring 1 or 2 people. So, I can only be the vanguard. Of course, that was a lie. The staff of Anziwergong only had the ability to bring people. Traversing worlds was Wuming's ability as the origin dragon. In that case, Lord Wuming should bring me along. As the person with the highest defense in Nasarick, I can definitely protect Lord Wuming, Yair Abed said. No, I've already confirmed the number of people. It's Satya and Sebastian. What? Satya and Sebastian were stunned. Then, they immediately knelt before Wuming. Your subordinates will do our best to live up to Lord Wuming's expectations and accept this punishment. Both Zaisha and Sebastian treated this as a punishment. Rise, everyone. It's not without reason that I brought Satya and Sebastian along. The reason for bringing Satya along was firstly that Satya's ability was outstanding among the Guardians. She could be said to be one of the best. Secondly, it was to punish her. On the other hand, Sebastian's fighting ability is unparalleled, and his identity as a butler can easily conceal us. After all, I don't really need too much defense. As a root dragon, my defense has always been very high. Although saying this would make Yair Bade sad, Wuming really didn't want to bring Yair Bade along. Now that you're here, my trip has become a trip to hell. Yair Bade and Demiurgos did not speak. Seeing that the 2 think tanks did not speak, the other guardians did not have any intention of speaking either. It's decided then. Also, I'll inform Pandora Yakut to leave the treasury. No one can invade that place. I'll let her play my role while I'm not in Nasarick. If there's anything, Yerbed and Demiurgos can discuss it with Pandora. That's it. The meeting is over. Zaisha and Sebastian will stay behind. The rest of you can leave. Yes, Lord Wuming, everyone shouted in unison. Before Yerbed, who was the last to leave, left, Wuming said, I hope you can use this ring well. I hope you can make good use of this ring. When I return, I will see a more perfect Nasarick. Just like that, Yerbed left with an excited expression. Wuming exhaled and looked at Zaisha. In that case, Zaisha, you have to be prepared to stay in the staff of Ains Ergong for a long time. Go and prepare your bed. Ha! A moment later, Zaisha left the meeting room with an indescribable expression. Sebastian, you might not be able to see Kialiai for a long time. Forgive me for breaking up your reunion with Kialiai, Wuming said apologetically. How could that be? Master Wuming, to be able to serve by your side, let alone a punishment, in my opinion, this is the best reward for me, Sebastian Dean, Sebastian said solemnly. Well, I'll give you some money. Go shopping with Kialiai and buy something. Let her enjoy the days with you first. This is also my greeting to the new member of Nasarick. With that said, Wuming took out a bag of gold coins and put it in front of Sebastian. Thank you very much, Lord Wuming. Sebastian put away the money bag and bowed to Wuming. Go, I'll inform you when it's time to leave. It should be in 5 days. Yes, Lord Wuming. Click. With the sound of the door closing, Wuming was the only one left in the meeting room. Well, it's time to meet Pandora. Teleport. Wuming activated the ability of Anziurgong's ring and arrived in front of the treasure vault. Walking into the treasure vault, Wuming came to a room similar to a luxurious living room. On the sofa in this room, a skeleton wearing a gorgeous blue-black mage robe was sitting on it. It was a dead mage. Who will it be this time? Pandora Yakut's race was a double phantom, which was the same race as Annabelle. However, Annabelle's race was only level 1, which meant that she could only transform into one appearance, which was Annabelle's current appearance. Pandora Yakon's race ability was level 41, which meant she could transform into 41 appearances. Because of Pandora's special skill, the appearance Pandora transformed into could have 80% of the original's ability. Pandora's current appearance was one of Anziurgong's 41 players, and Pandora's 41 targets were Anziurgong's 41 players. If she wanted to transform into another person, she had to give up one of the 41 players she had cloned. However, Wu Ming asked for a spell to make up for the double phantom transformation ability in the uninscribed spell book. Using a special spell to record the character's information that had been cloned and save it on a special paper, so that the character's transformation ability could be transferred from one's own skill to a special container, and then continue to copy other characters' information to transform into that person's appearance. Wu Ming, on the other hand, had already prepared the special paper. "Oh, Lord Wu Ming, welcome." The appearance of the dead great magician in front of him gradually changed, turning into a strange humanoid with completely white skin, wearing a German military uniform and a military cap. He had no facial features. In the position of the facial features, there were some holes as the representation of the facial features. "Pandora, I have something to tell you." After briefly explaining Wu Ming's idea and the special paper Wu Ming took out, Pandora instantly understood. Understood. "Lord Wu Ming, leave it to me, I will turn you into a hero. Don't worry." Looking at Pandora, who was performing a German military salute, Wu Ming was a little helpless. "Don't act like you're a real hero. Try not to interact with others. It's best if you're unpredictable. I'll pass on the memories and conversations of acquaintances to you. Do your best. I know you can do it. In Nasaric, your wisdom is no less than Demiurgo's." "Understood. Lord Wu Ming." Looking at Pandora, who was making a strange sound and performing a military salute, Wu Ming couldn't help but think. Am I doing the right thing? Chapter 54. After telling Pandora everything, Wu Ming left the treasury. Back in the conference room, Wu Ming decided to read the uninscribed book more. After all, it will automatically record the magic of the world. After reading the book in the conference room for a few days, Wu Ming closed the book and stretched. "I'm so tired. Although I don't have to eat, I still have to sleep." With that said, Wu Ming used the ring of Ain's Wugong to go to his bedroom. Lying on the bed, Wu Ming recalled everything he did in this world. "I'll tell them the truth. I'm not the Supreme Lord they used to be loyal to." After all, Wu Ming also indirectly deceived the Guardians. Even if the Guardians didn't care, Wu Ming still felt uncomfortable. After all, I'm the root dragon. How can I do such a thing? It's a disgrace to my bloodline. After thinking about it, Wu Ming shook his head again. Of course not. If I tell them the truth, with their sense of justice, they might take revenge on the Supreme Lord who abandoned them. Well, I still have to think about it carefully. After a while, Wu Ming's door was knocked. "Come in." "Sorry to disturb you, Wu Ming, Sama." The succubus in a white dress walked into Wu Ming's bedroom. Yeah, Erbel, what are you doing here?" In short, Wu Ming still couldn't deal with this crazy woman. "It's like this, Wu Ming, Sama, because of your actions in this world, the Guardians and I have specially provided you with some items that may be useful." Erbel stretched out her hand, and a dark purple ripple appeared in the air. That ripple can be understood as a backpack, which was the storage space for items in the game. Erbel took out a backpack from it. The moment she took it out, Wu Ming recognized it. It was an infinite backpack. Wu Ming took it and checked the items in the bag. "Really, I've already taken some useful items from Nazarik's treasure vault. Let's do this." Wu Ming took out some items that he didn't have or didn't have the same effect as Erbel. He opened a golden hole in the air and put those items inside. As for the remaining items in the infinite backpack, Wu Ming threw them back to Erbel. That golden ripple was an extension of Wu Ming's space noble artifact, Dragonist, Dragon's Nest. Previously, Wu Ming could access items from Dragonist in an instant, but it wasn't suitable for storing or retrieving a large number of items. Therefore, Wu Ming learned the Guardian's skill of opening backpack and developed this skill. "I'll take some items that don't have the same effect as me. You can divide the rest among the Guardians or the anti-theft treasure vault. Anyway, I won't touch it again." Wu Ming waved his hand and said somewhat willfully. "Yes." Wu Ming, Sama, Erbel was taken aback at first, then she showed a smile. Well then, I'll take my leave first, Wuming, Sama. When Bell was about to leave, Wuming stopped Bell. Wait a minute, Bell. I have a question. Wuming said awkwardly. What's the matter, Wuming, Sama? Is there a problem that I, as your subordinate, can solve? Bell looked at Wuming. And I'm saying if, I'm not the Supreme Venerable you served before, but just a Supreme Venerable who came in after the other Supreme Venerables left, what do you think? Wuming asked a little guiltily. Faced with this question, Wuming thought Bell would say something like, that's impossible. What does it matter, Wuming, Sama? Huh? Looking at Bell's smiling face, Wuming was a little overwhelmed. According to Bell's words, she already knew, whether you are the Supreme Venerable we served before or not, it doesn't matter. In the end, you were the one who accompanied us into the other world. You were the one who accompanied us and protected us. When everyone was afraid of coming to the other world, you were the one who guided us in the front. Bell walked in front of Wuming and touched Wuming's face. You shouldn't think about this problem. You just need to move forward, because we will only choose to follow you forever. There was a moment of silence in the bedroom. Do the other guardians know? Wuming asked. Yes, Lord Wuming. Demi-Yugos and I were the first to guess. The other guardians were also told by Demi-Yugos and I during the guardians meeting. They all said that whether Lord Wuming is the Supreme Venerable or not, the one who is accompanying us now is that Lord. Only by doing our best for that Lord can we repay that Lord's kindness towards us. That's what they said. Is that so? Let's not talk about how you and Demi-Yugos came to this conclusion, but I hope you don't resent the other Supreme Venerables. After all, they will never have the chance to return to Nasarick. Yes. I promise you, my beloved Lord Wuming. Then, can you explain why you took off your clothes? Bell. Wuming looked at Bell who was taking off his clothes and shouted hysterically. Of course, I'm taking advantage of the atmosphere to take down Lord Wuming. How can I let go of such a good atmosphere? Lord Wuming. Bell returned to his infatuated expression. Really, you've ruined such a rare atmosphere. Get out of my way. Wuming opened his palm, and silver chains bound Bell. What is this? Damn it, don't disturb me and Lord Wuming's happiness. Wuming smiled as he looked at Bell who was struggling on the ground but was unable to break free. No matter what, it's still a noble artifact. Just stay here obediently. Once the magic power of this sky lock is exhausted, it will automatically disappear. That's it, goodbye, wait. Lord Wuming, after that, Wuming used the ring of Anziwergong to teleport out of the bedroom, leaving only Bell who was crying. On the 9th floor corridor, Wuming walked and muttered to himself. Seriously, to think that I was so vexed. In the end, all the guardians know about it. Sigh. As he walked, Wuming found himself in the corridor of the conference room. Huh? Demi-Yugos? Wuming saw Demi-Yugos standing in front of the conference room, looking at who he was talking to. Wuming speculated that Demi-Yugos was using message magic to communicate. And Demi-Yugos seemed to be too focused, he didn't notice Wuming's arrival for the time being. Until Wuming stood behind Demi-Yugos. Lord Wuming. I'm so sorry, I didn't notice your arrival. Wuming said as he looked at Demi-Yugos, who was kneeling on one knee. It's okay, Demi-Yugos, I don't blame you, including the conversation between you and Cositas just now. I'm so sorry, Lord Wuming, your intention was to let Cositas understand by himself. I really shouldn't have said that. Demi-Yugos lowered his head even more. It's okay, Demi-Yugos, I said I won't blame you. Come in with me. Wuming said as he opened the door of the conference room. After Wuming went in, Demi-Yugos followed. Chapter 55. Wuming sat on the office chair and looked at Demi-Yugos standing in front of the desk. I know, Demiyugos, you can understand my thoughts, and I am very satisfied with your way of helping your companions, so you don't have to blame yourself. Thank you for your magnanimity, Wuming Sama. Demiyugos bowed. So, how is Cositas's progress? Wuming asked. Cositas has just finished his first attack, and there is no doubt that he was defeated. Well, I think so too. After all, the soldiers I gave to Cositas were all mindless soldiers that were automatically produced by Nasaric. If they could win, I would be surprised by the lizardman's strength. Wuming continued. Demiyugos, tell Cositas that I want to watch the battle between him and the lizardmen. He is allowed to fight, but only one person can fight. Yes, Master Wuming Sama. Demiyugos began to use message to contact Cositas. When he was free, Wuming stretched out his hand and took out the staff of Anziergong from the golden ripple. Remote perspective mirror. It was a special intelligence magic that could see the scene in the distance, and it could penetrate some anti-intelligence magic. Master Wuming Sama, I have already informed Cositas. Well, sit down and watch together. Yes. Soon, Cositas won. After all, those lizardmen were not even level 50. How could they win against Cositas, a level 100 warrior? I'm going to the scene to see. Do you want to come, Demiyugos? It's my pleasure, Master Wuming Sama. Portal. The black and red ripple door opened, and Wuming and Demiyugos walked in. Wuming came to Cositas's side and looked at the few lizardmen's bodies on the scene. Wuming praised. It's a wise choice. After all, when they knew that the other party wanted to subdue their race, they didn't need to send out all of their combatants because if all of them died, it would be a disaster for their race. Sir Wuming. When Cositas saw that it was Wuming, he knelt down on one knee. Well done, Cositas. Thank you for your praise, Lord Wuming. Since we've conquered the lizard men, it's time for us to return. After saying that, Wuming wanted to leave. Lord Wuming, I have a request. Wuming looked in astonishment at Cositas, who was kneeling on one knee and bowing his head. Say it. If it's not a big problem, I'll agree to it. Thank you, Lord Wuming. I would like to request that you revive the lizard men. Oh, may I know why? Because they are all warriors with some strength, I think they can serve Nasaric. Don't you think this reason is far-fetched, Cositas? After saying that, Wuming didn't look at Cositas, who had his head bowed, but looked at Demiyugos who was beside him. Wuming's meaning was very simple. Demiyugos asked Cositas to ask for help from Wuming. Demiyugos immediately understood and shook his head lightly. Wuming understood and reached his hand into the golden ripples. He took out a short staff with an emerald head and an ivory body and threw it to Cositas. This resurrection staff is for you, Cositas. Although it can be used a limited number of times, reviving these lizard men shouldn't be a problem. Thank you, Lord Wuming. Then, with Cositas's grateful voice, Wuming returned to Nasaric. Demiyugos didn't follow him back. He stayed behind to help Cositas use the resurrection staff. As a warrior, Cositas couldn't use any staff-type items. He sat on the office chair and looked up at the ceiling. So, the things in Nasaric are almost done. Wuming heard the magic bell, and he put his hand on his ear. What's the matter? Lord Wuming, 2 humans broke into Nazaric's spirit temple. Nazaric's spirit temple. Because Marley had set up an illusion magic circle, no one should be able to break into Nasaric. But, I'm right, little Kaji. I told you it was here, but you didn't believe me. The speaker was a woman wearing a black cloak with short blonde hair and a smile on her face. Humph. I'm warning you again, don't call me that. It's normal for this place to be strange. After all, such a large tomb is wrapped in an unknown illusion barrier. If you hadn't stepped into the hero domain, even if you had seen this place before, you wouldn't remember the location of this place. The other was a middle-aged man with skin as pale as a corpse's. He wore a dark red mage robe and held a magic staff and a dark gray pearl. He didn't have a single strand of hair on his head, whether it was a beard, eyebrows, or hair. he didn't have any. Understood, understood. Then, is our Lord Kadjit worthy of knowing what happened to the cult nation? I don't know if the theocracy provoked those dragon kings. Not only the capital's main church was destroyed, but even the six-color holy scriptures suffered heavy casualties. I hope they're all dead, so they won't chase me anymore. Okay, let's go, Clementine. The orb of death told me that there is a huge amount of death energy under this tomb. As long as I can get that energy, I can complete my ritual. After that, the man named Kaji began to move toward the entrance of the spirit temple. Stop, you two. A young man's voice came from the entrance of the spirit temple. Both Kaji and Clementine's faces changed. Clementine even took out her weapons, two short thorns. After all, that place was mysterious, and it was always right to be careful. Wuming slowly came out of the shadow and looked at Kaji and Clementine. You two can come in because I opened a hole in the barrier. After all, there are people who want to come in all day long, so it's better to invite them in early. Don't you think so, Kaji, Clementine? Wuming crossed his arms and looked at the two with a happy face. Hey, is it because of the conversation just now, Clementine? Get ready to retreat. Kaji's face became ugly. I will do it even if you don't say it. This man is too scary. He has been exuding a terrifying aura. Clementine whispered. I advise the two of you not to move around. If you're not careful, your head will fall off. With that, a few insect shadows appeared beside Kaji and Clementine. They were level 85 monsters called 8-limb assassin bugs. They were responsible for Wuming's safety in Nasarick. At this moment, the front blades of these 8-limb assassin bugs were placed on Kaji and Clementine's necks without any blind spots. What? When? Hey! Then, Wuming said to the side. Shadow demon, capture them. With that, Wuming's shadow flashed, and a shadow rushed toward Kaji and Clementine. In an instant, the shadow covered the two. Wuming didn't even look and left. Anyway, Demiyugos would take care of it. It's about time to leave Nasarick and go to the other world. I'll leave tomorrow morning. With this thought, Wuming left the surface of the tomb in Nasarick. Then, Demiyugos appeared where Wuming was standing before. Demiyugos pushed up his glasses. Send them to the House of Reality in the 5th level, Ice Prison. Let Nihilus take good care of them. With that, he left like Wuming. A moment later, the 8-limb assassin bugs and the shadow demon also disappeared. Only the empty spirit hall was left on the surface. Chapter 56. Wuming gave his final instructions and left with Satya and Sebastian the next day. Under the effect of the staff of Anziergong, Satya and Sebastian were sent into the space of the staff of Anziergong by Wuming and fell into a deep slumber. After transforming into his dragon form, Wuming entered the space-time tunnel. Wuming kept flying in the space-time tunnel. Looking at the light spots in the tunnel, Wuming could not help but recall his previous transmigrations. When he transmigrated to the country of Shadow, Wuming was not familiar with the structure of the space-time tunnel and was sucked in. After that, Britain was summoned by Merlin. It could be said that Wuming had tricked himself. After that, he transmigrated again because of Morgan Le Fay's curse, causing Wuming to leave that era and enter the space-time tunnel. Entering ancient Babylon was caused by the crazy Wuming wantonly destroying the space-time tunnel, which was caused by external factors. The alternate world where Nasarick was located was brought in by Wuming's curiosity. Therefore, strictly speaking, Wuming could be considered to have transmigrated on his own initiative and was not as passive as before. Just as Wuming was thinking, a light spot flickered not far ahead. As if they had a telepathic connection, Wuming subconsciously nodded. The space-time door opened. Wuming tilted his head and thought for a while before plunging in. Then, the space-time door closed. Wuming felt as if he had returned to his mother's embrace. His entire body was filled with warmth. Wuming had the thought of falling asleep again. However, this thought was not serious. After resisting his sleepiness, Wuming opened his eyes. At this moment, Wuming was in his human form in an indescribable substance. It was like water, gas, and fog. In short, these substances gave Wuming a chaotic feeling. However, it made Wuming feel very comfortable. Is this the root? Wuming had guessed correctly. This was the root of the M-shaped moon world. The shining light spot from before was just a resonance between the M-shaped moon world and Wuming. Because of this resonance, Wuming opened the space-time door subconsciously. Then, how do I get out? After all, even if the root was Wuming's home, this home was too big. Moreover, Wuming had never been to this home before. He left this home after he was born. Do I have to stay here until I can enter and leave the root on my own? This feels good. The root is home is the root's bloodline. Just as Wuming was thinking, he seemed to have received some news. It was as if someone was talking to him. Wuming opened his eyes wide in surprise. Are you for real? I don't mind. If I were to sleep here, I would have nothing to do. Wait. With that, Wuming transformed into his dragon form and fell asleep. The dream had begun. An ordinary village, a group of ordinary farmers, a group of ordinary playmates, and an ordinary war. Wuming seemed to have turned into a baby and was born in this village called Dong Remy. As if he was watching a movie, Wuming realized that time was passing by quickly. In the blink of an eye, Wuming was already 16 years old. However, the memories of these 16 years were still intact in Wuming's mind. Just now. What was that? 16 years of memories. That's unbelievable. Wuming now felt like he was watching a movie. He could only watch what he was doing and couldn't interfere with it. However, this body was indeed his. No matter what this body said or did, it was Wuming himself. Is this the process of falsifying an identity? Sigh. The restraining force acted too fast. I told you to wait. That's right, in the root, Wuming received the restraining force's greeting. Because Wuming signed a contract when he was born, but because he was immediately sent away from the type moon world, Wuming did not leave any traces in the type moon world. Although Wuming left his traces in the ancient Celtic, ancient British, and ancient Babylonian worlds, it was not because of the two restraining forces in the type moon world, but because Wuming joined it himself. Therefore, the planet's consciousness, Gaia, and the human consciousness, Alea, created a new identity for Wuming to achieve his ultimate goal, heroic spirit. In this way, Wuming's main body was sleeping in the vortex of the root, absorbing the power of the root. Wuming's intention was to enter the heroic spirit palace prepared for Wuming by the restraining force to form a heroic spirit. However, Wuming had the right to leave the heroic spirit palace. After all, when they signed the contract, they signed an equal contract, so Wuming did not have to worry about being trapped in the heroic spirit palace. Besides, the heroic spirit palace could not trap the root dragon. Of course, it was an adult. The scene changed. The country Wuming was in was troubled by war for a long time. A girl who had a good relationship with Wuming came to chat with Wuming. Sodric, you really are here. Looking at his blonde childhood sweetheart, Wuming said. Wuming put his hands behind his head, lying on a piece of hay, and said uninterestedly. What's wrong, Jehan? Why don't you pray for the Lord's arrival and listen to the voice of the Lord? Why are you looking for a lazy false believer like me? That's right, in this village, Wuming was arranged to be a believer of the Lord because of the persecution of the war. Well, don't say that, Sodric, I have something to tell you. Wuming sat up from the ground. Say it, I'm your childhood sweetheart. Jehan blushed a little. She sat next to Wuming and hugged her knees with both hands. Actually, I heard the voice of the Lord. Wuming didn't say anything. The Lord said, why do people fight? Wuming still didn't say anything. The Lord told me, I can stop this dispute. I want to stop this war. Wu Ming still didn't say anything. It's just, a little scared, is my ability enough, let's do it together. Ah. The girl named Jihan looked at Wu Ming in surprise. I don't feel safe letting a village girl like you go to the battlefield. Since we used to take a bath together, I'll protect you. Wu Ming smiled at Jihan, showing his white teeth. What are you talking about? We took a bath when we were very young, it doesn't count. Jihan blushed. How can it not count? Jihan, are you going to abandon me? I'm prepared to marry you when I grow up. Wu Ming showed a smug smile. WH. What? I'm not ready yet. No. No. The girl struggled to get up and ran into the distance. As Wu Ming laughed, the girl hid under a tree and put her hands over her heart. After the war. I can consider it. Chapter 57. After that, the boy and the girl left the village and headed for an important city in France. After a long and dangerous journey, the boy and the girl became a member of the army. The girl got the command of the army because God's revelation was verified. With the help of the boy's wisdom and advice, the girl won one battle after another. In the end, even without the boy, the girl kept winning. And because of the boy's outstanding military talent and powerful force, soon, his status in the army rose and caught up with the girl. In this way, King Charles VII, who was helped by the girl and the boy, divided the French army into two parts and gave them to the boy and the girl. In this way, in less than 2 years, most of the invaders were driven out of France by the efforts of the boy and the girl. The people called the boy Celestial General Sodric and the girl Saint Joan. And when the invaders were driven out, the girl was captured and slandered as a witch. The British authorities decided to execute the girl in Rouen, France, by burning her at the stake. After the boy failed to get the support of the French nobles and the king, he left the army and went to rescue the girl alone. When the boy came to the execution ground, the girl was already deep in the sea of fire, and the boy directly rushed into the sea of fire and hugged the girl. In the end, the boy and the girl were burned together. Only then did France manage to drive out all the invaders from England. The French king conferred the title of a general to commemorate the boy's achievements. And the girl, after being slandered as a witch, was canonized as a saint in Vatican City hundreds of years later. At this moment, the boy opened his eyes with tears in his martyr's palace. Jihan. As if it was just a moment ago, Wu Ming's eyes were still filled with tears. As if it was a long time ago, Wu Ming's eyes were full of confusion. Seriously, if you want to make history a mere figurehead, then so be it. Why did you give me such an annoying identity? Wu Ming wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes. I said before that I won't cry anymore, but I cried again. Wu Ming laughed at himself. But I heard the last sentence clearly, Jihan. Alright, let's see if there's any place where I need to be summoned. Wu Ming sat on his seat in the martyr's palace and closed his eyes to sense the surroundings. This could be considered Wu Ming's privilege. Other heroic spirits could only be summoned passively, but Wu Ming could choose to take the initiative. As for Wu Ming, he only needed an opportunity to appear on his own. Lord, Wu Ming opened his eyes. Yes, that's Jihan's voice. Since he didn't need to pay attention to the heroic spirit's body in the Valhalla, Wu Ming prepared to directly descend his consciousness into the servant's body. Wu Ming's body began to glow. Then, as if he had fallen asleep, Wu Ming closed his eyes. In a certain cemetery, there was a middle-aged man with 3 scars on his face. His name was Lion Jieli. He was a magician and was holding a ceremony. Thy body shall be my life, and my fate shall be thy sword. In accordance with the Holy Grail's request, if you are willing to abide by this principle, then respond. I hereby swear. I am the one who becomes all the good in the world, I am the one who suppresses all the evil in the world. Thou, bound by the 3 spirits of words for 7 days. Wheel of self-restraint, come forth. Guardian of Libra. The magic formation in front of him produced a large amount of storms that constantly impacted everything around him. Lion Jiali raised his arms to cover his eyes and head. After a while, the smoke slowly dispersed, revealing the person standing in the magic formation. A knight wearing a white armor with red patterns and holding a red magic sword stood there. The knight's helmet began to disintegrate and scattered around the armor like a machine, revealing a pretty face with a single golden ponytail. There was an unruly smile on her pretty face. "I ask you, are you my master?" However, Lion Jiali in front of the female knight didn't speak. Instead, he looked at her with a shocked expression. The female knight was a little puzzled and looked at Lion Jiali fiercely. "Hey! Say something! Bastard!" He is surprised that he can summon two servants at once. Mordred. "What?" A voice came from behind Mordred. Mordred didn't seem to know that there was someone behind her. She hurriedly jumped away and raised the magic sword in her hand. "You are? How is that possible?" As if she saw an incredible existence, Mordred cried out in surprise. Wu Ming was wearing a silver white armor. He followed Mordred's example and opened up his dragon head helmet. "Long time no see, Mordred." To Wu Ming's surprise, Mordred was summoned in this Holy Grail war, and she was with him. "No, it should be, I followed Mordred here. So that's how it is. That opportunity is you, little Mordred. Don't give me such a disgusting name. What the hell is going on?" Vilo tharanced. Although Mordred's tone was still bad, she put down the weapon in her hand. "What? Is this the Vilo knight known as the Silver Dragon of Britain?" Lion Jiali on the side was very surprised. "No, master, I summoned Sodric Vilo Ste as a saber." "Huh? Sodric? Are you kidding me?" Mordred obviously didn't believe it. Could it be that the legend of Heavenly Commander Sodlek is true? Jia said. "What is the legend, master?" Mordred asked. Lion Jiali swallowed and looked at Wu Ming nervously. Legend has it that the young Sodlek, who joined the army together with Joan of Arc, became the highest-ranking general in France in less than 2 years with his innate martial prowess and strategic command ability. He was loved and respected by the French people. But Lion Jiali didn't dare to say it. After all, if the person in front of him was really Sodric, it would be taboo. "No problem, master, please continue." Afterward, Lion Jiali continued. Before joining the army, Sodric was ambushed by the British royal family. In the Alps, he battled with the demonic dragon transformed from the legendary Silver Dragon of Britain, Vero Sealanthud. Sodric killed the demonic dragon with his bravery and intellect. He obtained the armor and weapons of the demonic dragon's guardian and bathed in the dragon's blood. His physical strength was greatly enhanced and he could block sharp weapons with his body. However, at some point in time, rumors began to circulate among the people that Sodric had been possessed by a demonic dragon and that his body had been taken over. That's why Sodric was burned together with Joan of Arc, who was sentenced to be the saintess at that time. "Huh? Are you serious? Hey! Who are you?" Mordred shouted at Wu Ming. "Of course, I am me, Mordred. Vilo is me, Sodric is me, and the demon dragon is me." Wu Ming's eyes were glowing red, looking at Mordred and Lion Jiali. Lion Jiali suddenly regretted using the round table fragment as a holy relic to summon. Looking at the situation, he might die before seeing the black servant. Chapter 58. Mordred protected Liu Jiali and pointed her sword at Wu Ming with both hands. Wu Ming looked at the two with a smile. Both sides were on the verge of fighting. Then, Wu Ming spoke. Okay, I'm kidding. After all, the magician behind you is not only your master, but also my master." Speaking of this, Lion Jiali realized that the other party had also been calling him master all this time. Looking at his hand, Lion Jiali exclaimed in surprise. "Are you for real? I actually have 6 command incantations?" Wu Ming and Mordred both looked at Liu Jiali's hand. Liu Jiali's left and right hands had a red pattern similar to blood clots. Each pattern was composed of 3 lines, and the thickness and shape of each line were different. That is the command seal. Normally, there should only be 3 command incantations, but having 6 command incantations meant that Jia Jiali had 2 servants. Well, for the time being, just think of me as a reincarnated Villo Knight. That's it, please advise me, Master. And, you can perceive the connection between us, can't you, Mordred? Yes. Mordred didn't say anything, but she was very unhappy. After removing the sword and armor in a very unhappy manner, he turned around and said to Jia Jiali, "My real name is Mordred." "Nice to meet you, Master." Then Wu Ming also officially reported his name. "My real name is Sodlek. Please take care of me, Master." Please advise me, my name is Liu Jiali," Liu Jiali said helplessly. "Let's not talk about the 2 servants you summoned. You actually summoned a knight of the Round Table in this place. Are you a necromancer?" Mordred crossed her arms and said with a look of disgust. Yes, my childhood was accompanied by corpses. Speaking of which, King Arthur's son Mordred is actually a girl. Hey! Master, you'd better not say that word, otherwise, I don't know what Mordred will do." Wu Ming interrupted Liu Jiali, looking at Mordred who was looking at him coldly. Liu Jiali swallowed his saliva. I know. So, what is your wish?" Liu Jiali first looked at Mordred. "Of course, I want to challenge you to pull out that sword, but I think with my qualifications, I will definitely pull it out," Mordred said with a proud face. "How is that possible?" Wu Ming accidentally laughed. "What did you say?" "Villo. Believe it or not, I'll kill you." After saying that, Mordred was about to condense a sword and slash at Wu Ming. The position of king has already been decided. "Mordred, it doesn't mean that just because you have the right to be king, you can pick her up." Jia Jiali on the side. "Why do you say that? You also know that I was a knight during King Yosef's time. As the strongest knight at that time, King Yosef naturally told me about the next king." Wu Ming looked at Liu Jiali, then looked at Mordred and continued. "To be precise, even if I tried to pull out the sword, I could pull it out. The reason why I couldn't pull it out was because Merlin cast a spell, making everyone who tried to pull it out at that time unable to do so. Only my king could pull it out." Hearing this, Liu Jiali was dumbfounded. What? It was Merlin who interfered. Mordred expressed that she was very angry. However, to pull out that sword, having the qualifications of a king is the most important thing. At that time in Camelot, other than my king and me, no one else had the qualifications of a king. However, if you win the Holy Grail, you can try. Mordred, I have to tell you, you are not inferior to my king. My king didn't accept you because she knew you couldn't bear the fate of Britain. These words caused Mordred to fall into silence. Then, as the first knight of King Arthur, the Villo, and as the general of France in the 100 Years' War, what do you wish for? Liu Jiali asked. Wu Ming smiled. I participated in the Holy Grail War this time because I have something to do with a servant, so strictly speaking, I don't have a wish. Huh? Liu Jiali cried out in surprise. After all, in Liu Jiali's view, whether it was the Knight Villo or the General of France, they were all tragic figures. The former became a demonic dragon because of the curse of the Black Magician and was sealed. The latter was slandered by the British royal family and was rumored to be a demonic dragon. In the end, he was burned to death with Joan of Arc. Therefore, in Liu Jiali's view, it was a bit unrealistic for Wu Ming to say that he had no wish. Well, after all, I haven't died, so I don't have any wish that can be fulfilled with the Holy Grail. What? Liu Jiali looked at Wu Ming in surprise. This time, even Mordred looked at Wu Ming with a surprised face. After all, it was strange to become a heroic spirit without dying. Well, after all, I'm not a human, so I didn't die. I'll tell you this story when I have the chance in the future. shouldn't we go and meet the other Red Masters first? Yes, the supervisor of the Holy Church and the Red Master sent me a message before, asking me to go to a church somewhere to find him. Then, let's go, Master. In this way, under Mordred's complaint and Liu Jiali's helpless expression, the three of them began to move toward the designated location. Sighisoara, Romania, a small church on a mountain. Liu Jiali walked in alone. Wuming and Mordred both turned into spirits and followed behind Liu Jiali. After entering the church, the first thing he saw was a white-haired young priest. The agreed place is here, right? Did you call me here? Although it was a question, it was a tone of certainty. The priest heard someone come in and turned his head. Nice to meet you, I'm Shiro Kotomine. White hair, dark skin, a black priest's outfit, a cross ornament hanging on his chest. This was a person who, whether it was his voice or his personality, would give people a feeling of peace. I'm Liu Jiali. I'll skip the self-introduction. Well, then the servants around you are a bit abnormal. Did you find Sodric? Liu Jiali thought. Wuming told Liu Jiali that he just followed Mordred to the world. It was also because of his own skills, so he didn't need Liu Jiali to provide much magic power. He just needed to maintain the contract. After all, without a contract, the servants couldn't appear. The servant I summoned is a little special. Forgive me for my lack of manners. Of course, no problem. This is also your privacy. Mordred, who noticed that something was wrong, removed her spirit form and revealed her body in full armor. Through the contract, Mordred sent a message to Liu Jiali, annoying aura, let me be like this for the time being. Liu Jiali looked at Mordred and didn't speak. Wuming also appeared. He was clad in white full-body armor, a helmet that resembled a dragon's head, and a cape that was used as a decoration. He gave off a rather reliable feeling. Wuming and Mordred stood on the left and right side of Liu Jiali. Then, I'll come out here too. Feng Shiro said. A woman in black clothes who looked very sinister appeared behind Feng Shiro. This sinister woman was also a servant. I'm Assassin, my real name is Semiramis. She gave Wuming a feeling of seeing Morgan Le Fay. Immediately, Feng Shiro and Liu Jiali sat on the chair in the church and began a short conversation. After that, Liu Jiali said that he wanted to act alone. So, you're not going to act with other masters? Are you not used to group battles? Feng Shiro asked. Yes, and I have enough power here, so I'm not going to act with you. Liu Jiali said calmly. After that, Liu Jiali got up and walked toward the door. I wish you a prosperous martial arts, Mr. Liu Jiali. Liu Jiali opened the door and walked out. Thank you for your blessing. Peng dash. The door closed. Chapter 59. After walking out of the church, Wuming and Mordred entered spirit form. How is it, did he chase after us? Liu Jiali asked. No, but you can rest assured, because this guy is super strong. Mordred conveyed her words to Liu Jiali through the contract. You really think highly of me, Mordred, Wuming teased. Although I don't want to admit it, if this guy still has the power of a knight, we will win this Holy Grail war, Master. Oh, although I know that King Arthur's first knight is really powerful, Saber, is Sodric really that strong? After all, from the conversation with Liu Jiali, he knew that the number of times the knight Villo in King Arthur's history was not many, and he was basically the commander. Of course, Master, this guy can be said to be in existence that even my father may not be able to defeat. Although I don't want to admit it, the Villo is indeed the strongest in Britain. Looking at Liu Jiali's shocked expression, Wuming said. Well, let's not talk about the combat power first. After all, I came as the French General Sodric, so it is inevitable that there will be some differences in ability. Is that so? Then, this name is a problem. Both of you are Saber, Master, please call me General. General? That sounds like the French word for general, right? Alright, I'll call Sodlek General from now on, and Mordred Saber. Why? I also want a different name. Sure enough, Mordred is still a child, Wu-Ming thought. Let's not talk about this first, why don't you stay, master? Mordred asked. Liu Jieli was stunned, then said, didn't you two not want to stay? The minority obeys the majority, so let's leave, After all, he's a servant with Queen Mother's aura, which means he's not someone you can trust. Mordred said angrily. Mordred is right. Semiramis is not inferior to Morgan Le Fay in terms of methods, intelligence, and ruthlessness. It was because of Morgan Le Fay's scheme that I revealed my true form. So, General, your true identity is a dragon. Liu Jieli was a little surprised. Yes, Mordred, you should know that King Yusef and Merlin once summoned the legendary dragon, and that was me. No way. Are you for real? That legendary dragon that has never appeared before is you. Mordred couldn't remain calm anymore. Of course, after I transformed back into a dragon, due to Morgan Le Fay's curse, I, who was unable to transform into a human, was corrected by history and brought away from that era. That's true. As a top-level fantasy breed dragon, it should be impossible to live in King Arthur's era, unless it's a sub-dragon or something like that. Liu Jieli touched his chin and analyzed. After all, Wu-Ming's dragon form was mysterious in that era where the gods had passed away, so it was naturally excluded by the era. Unfortunately, Wu-Ming was the root dragon, so the era couldn't do anything to Wu-Ming at all. If the summoning time hadn't been shortened by Morgan Le Fay, Wu-Ming wouldn't have to leave at all. Well, you guys can think of it as that. Wu-Ming said embarrassedly. Just like that, while the three of them were talking, Jieli the lion took the two servants and left the church. In the church, Fengshiro Yanfeng and Semiramis began their discussion. It seems like we've been alerted, master. It's not my fault. Semiramis laughed. If the other party has two servants, it's not easy to get rid of them. Semiramis cheerfully said something that no one could understand. After all, Jia Jieli was the master of the red team, yet he actually thought of ambushing his own people. The other party is also pursuing the Holy Grail and is now on our side. Besides, even if it's an ambush, it's unlikely to succeed. Feng Shiro said with a warm attitude. I didn't expect the other party to summon two servants. Let's not talk about the possibility. Does he have a way to provide magic? After all, the magic supply of two servants is not something that anyone can control. Semiramis said. Maybe it's a miracle. After all, the Holy Grail War is not short of miracles. The young man said. Then Semiramis continued to ask, did you see the other party's real name, master? Yes, I saw the real name of one of the servants. The other servant has a hidden noble artifact or skill. Oh, then what's the real name that you identified, Satyr? Sodric, the general known as the Divine Warrior in the 100 Years' War between England and France. Oh, if it's that one, we can't act rashly. Semiramis said. That's right. I saw the special ability of the servant named Sodric, Mystic Dragon. It seems that the slander of the world has become a curse that accompanies this general who saved the nation. Well, it seems that we have to finish the courtyard quickly. The ritual should be completed in a day or two, right? Well, of course, at this moment, a brown-haired bearded man dressed in a greenish-brown British costume with a cape draped over his left shoulder shouted as he barged in. Horse. Give me a horse. I will exchange my whole kingdom for it. What are you doing? Castor. That was Semiramis who was scared. Oh. The Empress of Assyria. So, what are you doing here? The berserker went berserk. What? On the other side, because Wu-Ming said that he was going to find the servant he was looking for, he separated from Jieli and Mordred with his own skill. Really, why did you say, I have solo action, so I'll leave first? You think you're so great just because you have solo action? Mordred, who was in spirit form, was wearing a pair of shorts, leather boots, a bra that barely covered her breasts, and a red jacket. She was walking with a displeased expression on her face. Don't say that. After all, it's General's wish. Besides, aren't you wearing the clothes that you really want to wear? Jiali walked beside Mordred and observed the surrounding terrain. We are in the enemy's base, and no one is ambushing us. After that, there were a few people in the shadow in front of them. They were cyborgs that looked basically the same. Behind the cyborgs stood several large stone golems. Not only in front, but there were also enemies on the roof and behind them. Ha ha ha, as expected of my master, you even used yourself as bait. Mordred patted Jia Li's back and laughed happily. Ahem. I'll leave the golems to you, and the cyborgs to me, okay? Jia Li coughed a few times. Of course. Chapter 60. At night. After separating from Leo and Mordred, Wuming embarked on a journey to find Joan of Arc. I always feel that there's something wrong with that priest, as if he saw through me. Wuming walked on the road, thinking about what happened in the church just now. Forget it, the most important thing now is to find Jean. She must have appeared as the ruler. Since it's a daily routine, she will definitely come here, Tulifas. What I need to do now is to set up some detection magic. Wuming couldn't help but show a proud smile. Fortunately, Dragonist also descended into this body as a noble phantasm. After finding a hidden place, Wuming opened Golden Ripple, reached into his hand, and took out a large number of scrolls. I remember Yael and the others gave me a scroll with reverse detection magic. Sure enough, after picking and choosing for a while, Wuming found the scrolls. That kind of scroll could block the opponent's detection magic, which was the so-called false eye with the ability to see through the truth. Wuming planned to set up that kind of scroll in many places. Well, although there are many skills in the game that can detect this kind of magic, I believe that unless it's a servant's special skill, it's impossible for a magician to detect this kind of magic. Then, Wuming began to run all over Tulifas. Fortunately, Wuming had the skill magic, otherwise, it would be unrealistic to set up those scrolls in one night. After all, the servant's body also limited some of Wuming's skills. For example, Wuming forgot all the skills related to Lune's magic. The reason why he didn't forget the magic in Yggdrasil was because those magic were not the products of the moon world, and the servant's body couldn't make them forget. Although it's interesting, the servant's body is really inconvenient. After all, Wuming was not a dead hero. Being able to walk in the world again was a rare benefit for those heroes. Who would care about forgetting their skills because of their class? Huh? Is Master and Mordred done? Just as Wuming was setting up the magic scroll, he detected that Jiali and Mordred were ambushed by the Yugamirene side. However, this ambush was only a probing attack by the cyborgs and the marionettes. Right now, Jiali and Mordred were heading towards Wuming. Wuming sat on a big tree and looked up at the starry sky, waiting for Jiali and Mordred. The starry sky in Nasaric time is still the best. That's why, as long as we win the battle, it's fine even if we have to use our teeth. This was Mordred. Where did you come from, Berserker? Seriously. This was Lion Jiali. Yo, did you have fun, Saber? Wuming jumped down from the tree and waved at Mordred. How could it be fun? Those magic puppets can't even take a beating. Mordred shrugged. Looks like it's a test by the other side. Well, General, have you found the servant you're looking for? Is she really not a member of the black side? Jiali asked. Not yet. But didn't I say that she will only become a ruler, not a servant of both sides? Wuming said. It better be true. If she's not a ruler but a black servant, I will definitely beat her until she pisses her pants. Humph. Mordred turned her head away fiercely. Actually, I've been curious for a long time. I remember in King Arthur's legend, Mordred and the Villo had a good relationship. Before Lion Jiali could finish speaking, a crimson-red scarlet thunder demon sword was pressed against his neck. Who would have a good relationship with him? Be careful if you keep talking nonsense. I know, put down the sword first. Jia Li said embarrassedly. Hearing this, Mordred put down the sword. Ha ha ha, you're right, master. Mordred and I have a good relationship. As for why Mordred is so mean to me, it's just a matter of bloodline. Wu Ming smiled and patted Jia Li's back. It was rare that Mordred didn't refute. She just turned her head away. Seeing this, Jia Li knew that it must be another story, so he didn't ask anything more. Well, where are you going next? Wu Ming asked. Back to the stronghold to rest. What about you? Do you want to continue looking for the ruler? Of course, then that's it. If there's anything, contact me through the contract. After that, Wu Ming's spirit body disappeared. Let's go, Saber. I know. On the other side, Wu Ming and Jia Li just separated from Mordred, and Wu Ming received the news of Jia Li. Oh. The Red Berserker went berserk? He's coming here, so is he going to attack the Black Team's base? As expected of a Berserker. What are you going to do? Jia Li asked. You tell the priest, I'll go and see, Wu Ming said. Understood. After that, Jia Li cut off the connection. Wu Ming, on the other hand, went to the direction that Lion Jia Li said to meet up with the Red Archer and Red Rider who came to support the Red Berserker. In the forest near the Yugdamarinia's castle, a tall man wearing prisoner restraining iron armor was constantly moving forward. He let out a terrifying laugh as he spoke. Ha ha ha, oppressor. Oppressor. On the tree behind him, there were only two figures, a man and a woman. The woman wore a green-brown dress with black garter socks, long green hair to her waist, beast ears on her head, and a beast tail behind her. The man wore a Greek-style light warrior suit, a red scarf fluttering behind him, green short straight hair fluttering in the wind, and a wisp of bangs fluttering in front of his forehead. It wasn't until the Red Berserker was temporarily intercepted by the enemy's golem that the two began to talk. You think you can only abandon him, Rider? You think it's strange that you can persuade him, Big Sister? My name is Atlanta, don't call me Big Sister, Achilles, the woman who claimed to be Atlanta said. This is just a more intimate name, don't mind it. In this regard, the person called Achilles just smiled. Then, Achilles stopped laughing and said, since there's a chance, let's see those guys from the Black Team. Well, but if this guy uses Noble Phantasm, retreat immediately, Atlanta said. Understood, Achilles said. You are Red Archer and Red Rider. Suddenly, a voice came from behind the two. Chapter 61. Who is it? Achilles shouted and instantly condensed a cross spear and stabbed backward. Atlanta also drew her bow and aimed at Wu Ming who was behind Achilles. Sorry, I came here without telling you. I hope I didn't scare you. Wu Ming held the spear that Achilles stabbed with one hand and raised the other hand as if he was waving. You are Saber on our side? After all, Feng Shiro had previously informed the two through the contract that there would be a saber coming to them. As for why he said it as if there were other red sabers, Achilles and Atlanta didn't care anymore. Well, it's the first time we met. I'm Sodric, summoning with the saber profession. I'm Atlanta, summoning with the archer profession. I'm Achilles, summoning with the rider profession. I didn't expect you to be Saber, I thought you were assassin, Achilles said with some pride. So, what's the situation now? Wu Ming didn't care and asked the two. As you can see, Berserker is still crazy, Achilles said. I remember that Berserker's real name is Spartacus, worthy of the famous rebel. Looking at the crazy appearance, Wu Ming couldn't help but sigh. By the way, have you seen your master? Achilles ignored Wu Ming and asked Atlanta. No, I've only seen Semiramis and his master, the priest. Me too. The circuits are connected, and the order has been issued, but I don't see the person. This is considered abnormal. Achilles looked at his hand and felt the connection of the magic circuits, and said so. It makes sense that the magician is hiding, but it makes people feel that he is timid, Atlanta said indifferently. Saber, where is your master? Achilles asked. My master didn't move with the other masters. We moved alone, so there wasn't any abnormal situation like yours. My master, on the other hand, looks like a fiend, but surprisingly, he's not a bad guy. Wu Ming waved his hand. Is that so? Then, the three of them didn't say anything. After a while, after Spartacus defeated these blocking puppets, a black servant appeared in front of them. That doesn't seem to be a lancer, is it a rider? Both of our riders like close combat. Wu Ming looked at Achilles, who condensed a cross spear. Of course, I prefer to carry a spear myself than riding a chariot on the battlefield. Achilles said with a smile. That's a pity, I don't like war. Wu Ming said. Here. Atlanta interrupted the conversation between the two. The black rider raised his spear and seemed to have released his real name. It passed through Spartacus' leg, and Spartacus' leg was forcibly spiritualized. Immediately afterward, the black rider's master and servant came over, led by a green-haired middle-aged man riding a horse. Is that Vlad III? Wu Ming said lightly. This was what Wu Ming learned from the exchange of intelligence between Liu Jia and Yan Fengshiro. Ah. It should be right, Atlanta said. The black rider raised his hand, and a large amount of enchanted soil wrapped around Spartacus, and then several spikes penetrated Spartacus. At this point, the red rider's berserker was captured by the black rider. It seemed that the other side didn't have the intention to attack together. They only sent 2 servants who hadn't fought before to attack Wu Ming's position. One for each of us, rider. Wu Ming took out the meteor silver from the ripple and used magic to manifest the silver armor, and said to Achilles. Well, really, they only sent 2 servants, they really don't put me in their eyes, Achilles sneered. Then I'll cover you from the rear, Atlanta said. Well, I'll leave it to you, Archer. It can't be helped, big sister. With that, Wu Ming and Achilles walked to the tree in front of them and looked at the black rider's servants. Is it Saber and Berserker? Achilles said. One of them was a silver-haired man wearing black and silver armor and holding a long sword. The other was a pink-haired girl wearing a wedding dress and holding a hammer. Achilles just wanted to say something, but Wu Ming suddenly rushed forward and rushed to the black rider's saber, swordsman. Hey! You can't be like this, that's the opponent I want. Achilles complained. Wu Ming didn't know if he heard it or not, but at this moment, he had already started a hand-to-hand battle with the black rider's saber, swordsman. Maybe because of Wu Ming's fierce attack, the black rider's saber had been retreating. What's wrong, black rider, is this all you can do? The black rider didn't speak, but he kept waving his sword. This feeling. Is this a special attack? When Wu Ming fought with the black rider, he felt that the other side had a sense of restraint. Wu Ming quickly hit the black rider's saber, swordsman, back a distance. Then, an arrow penetrated the atmosphere and hit the black rider's body, nailing it to the big tree behind him. It was an arrow shot by the red rider's archer. Oh, hearing the sound, Wu Ming looked at Achilles and found that he was injured by the black rider. Achilles was a hero in the Trojan War and had many noble phantoms. Because Achilles was burned by the heavenly fire after he was born, soaked in the river Styx, he obtained an immortal body. Therefore, if you want to hurt him, you must have divinity or god-killing weapons. From this point of view, the Black Rider's archer was a follower related to God. The Black Rider's berserker, went to fight against Atlanta. When Wu Ming looked at the Black Rider's saber again, he raised the big sword in his hand as if he was going to release his noble phantoms. The big sword began to emit light. It looks like a special attack against the dragon's noble phantoms. Wu Ming felt a sense of threat from it, although it was not big. Is your master in such a hurry to let you release your noble phantoms? Then, come on. Although the other party was attacking the dragon's noble phantoms, Wuming's root dragon was not a simple dragon, so the noble phantoms that attacked the dragon's noble phantoms did not have much effect on Wuming. However, Wuming did not dare to exaggerate. He posed and prepared to release his noble phantoms. Just when Wuming thought that the other party was going to release his noble phantoms, the other party suddenly knelt on the ground like a broken string, and the light of his noble phantoms disappeared. Then, the Black Rider's saber spiritualized and left. Is there an internal conflict? It was obvious that the other party was interrupted by another command spell. There was no doubt that there were internal disagreements. After noticing that Atlanta had also retreated, Wuming knew that this time's test was almost over. Ignoring Achilles, who was declaring war with the Black Rider, Wuming also disappeared in his spiritual form. This was because the detection magic he set up had found the person Wuming was looking for. On the way Wuming was looking for Jean, on the other side of the forest, the Black Rider who had left early was leading a brown-haired, red-eyed android out of the forest. Jean, on the other hand, came to the place where the Red and Black Riders were fighting and began to investigate. At this moment, a revelation came. Cedric. Jean recalled the person who appeared in the scene just now in surprise. It was obvious that this was her childhood sweetheart, Cedric. Jean put down the puppet fragment in her hand and began to run on the other side of the forest. Chapter 62. On Wuming's side, as if they were discovered, the surrounding soil gathered and formed golems, surrounding the Black Rider and the android, including Wuming. Really, I shouldn't have followed you guys. AI. Red Saber. Why are you here? Are you here to help us? The rider from the black team naturally voiced his doubts. Wuming didn't know what to say. He just waved his sword gently. The dexterous sword energy destroyed the golem surrounding the three people. Wuming turned to look at the Black Rider and the android. He saw the hope of survival in the eyes of the android. Wuming smiled. For this kind of guy who resisted fate, Wuming didn't hate Wuming. Wuming reached out, opened the ripple, and took out a bag from it. This was not an infinite backpack, just an ordinary bag. Wuming had to admit the advantages of game items. The collision damage of the outside world would not affect the things in the bag in the slightest. It would only reduce the durability. If the durability became 0, the bag would disappear. After filling more than a dozen bottles of red potions, Wuming threw the bag and a magic scroll to the Black Rider. After a moment of confusion, the Black Rider caught the bag and scroll. What is this? He asked. There is a potion in the bag to heal this android. The scroll is a magic that can temporarily block the perception of the command curse. No, it's a magic item. Take this android and leave quickly. A servant is coming. Wuming said lightly. Oh. You are a good man. My name is Astolfo. What about you? Wuming said in his heart, no wonder. Astolfo, one of the 12 warriors of Charlemagne, was a rational person. He looked at the other party's outfit. The upper body was okay, a light night outfit, a fluffy cloak, but the lower body was a short skirt, suspenders, and long night boots. As expected of a rational person. I'm an enemy servant. Is it okay for you to tell me your real name? Wuming joked. As if he just realized something, the servant named Astolfo smiled nervously and awkwardly. My real name is Cedric, a French general. Just call me that for now. Wuming looked at Astolfo helplessly. Not bad, don't you think? Astolfo looked at the androids. The androids didn't come back to their senses. After all, if they didn't hear it wrong, the servant in front of them gave Astolfo a potion to heal him. Yes, the android said tiredly. At this moment, a pot-bellied middle-aged man with a black saber caught up from behind. Stop! The middle-aged man shouted. Then, he lowered his head and panted heavily with his hands on his knees. Damn it, why did you send me to do this kind of task? Gold didn't realize Wuming's existence. It wasn't until he saw his servant holding a sword and looking ahead vigilantly that he noticed Wu Ming's existence. Red servant, why are you here? This Gold seemed to be frightened, and he quickly ordered his servant, Quick, Siegfried, take him down. It could be seen that the master's spirit has been greatly stimulated, and he directly exposed his servant's real name. Is that so, Siegfried? No wonder I have a bad feeling. I'm Sodric, the other saber of the red team, nice to meet you. The bad feeling that Wu Ming said was the effect of the dragon's special attack. After all, Wu Ming had the dragon attribute, coupled with Sodric's skill, Magic Dragon EX. It was inevitable that he would feel uncomfortable facing Siegfried. What? Another saber? But the one from before is also saber. Why do you have two sabers? Gold exclaimed. Wu Ming knew that Gold was talking about Mordred, but he didn't say anything and said to Gold. Don't worry, after tonight, I won't participate in the battle between the red team and the black team. I'm an extra servant summoned by the red team, so let me fight with you for the time being. In that case, we'll go first, bye-bye, Astolfo said and began to run to the other side with the cyborgs. What? No, wait. Wu Ming waved his sword in front of Gold, which suddenly scared him. Just stay there obediently. Although I won't attack the masters, I hope that you'll stay there obediently. Damn it. In that case, there's no need to worry. Ziegfeld, go, he yelled hysterically. Siegfried flew forward, holding his sword, and slashed at Wu Ming. Clang! Wu Ming took out his meteor silver and blocked Siegfried's demon sword. The same silver-white sword, a holy sword and a demon sword, constantly collided with each other like a hurricane. That caused Gold to be sent flying, his head hit a tree, and he fainted. Because of the presence of the master, Siegfried didn't fight too much with Wu Ming, and he paid attention to stay away from the master. Although Wu Ming wouldn't take the initiative to attack other masters, he didn't care about that. Because Siegfried couldn't go all out, but because Siegfried had the attribute of the dragon's special attack, the two were tied for the time being. With a feint, Wu Ming and Siegfried moved away and stood facing each other. You're really like a machine. This sentence made Siegfried's expression waver. The reason why Wu Ming compared Siegfried to a machine was not because Siegfried didn't know how to think, but because Wu Ming could see that Siegfried didn't have any desires. Coupled with the story of Siegfried in the Nibelungen route, Wu Ming said that Siegfried was like a machine. You're a hero, don't you have anything you want to do? Even if you're a machine, you should have a wish. Wu Ming held his sword with one hand and put the other hand on his waist. Siegfried didn't speak, because he didn't know what he wanted to do. Just then, Astolfo came back with the android he took away. Not good. Sodric. He's dying, what should we do? Astolfo held the android who was constantly coughing up blood and had fainted, and asked Wu Ming anxiously. Are you an idiot? Didn't I give you the potion to treat him? Forget it, let me take a look. With that, Wu Ming walked towards the two. As he walked, Wu Ming glanced at Siegfried. Think about it, what do you really want to do? What I want to do? My wish is to make my own decision to do something. Siegfried muttered. Wu Ming took out a bottle of potion from the golden ripples and poured it all into the android's mouth. The android's body instantly emitted a green light. It seems that the potion is effective, but it only treats the symptoms and not the root cause. Wu Ming touched his chin. But this was only temporary. This android had a defect in his body, which caused the blood vessels in his body to rupture and bleed. The potion only temporarily treated the injuries in his body. What do you mean, Sodric? Astolfo asked. It means that he won't live long, and it's very likely that he will face the crisis of death every day. After all, this is the racial defect of the androids. The one who caused the injury to the android was himself. This was the racial defect of the androids, which made them unable to survive outside the incubator. After all, the healing potion couldn't eliminate the racial defect. Then what can you do? Astolfo looked at Wu Ming with tears in his eyes. Wu Ming turned his head away helplessly. Unless I change his race, I can't do anything about it. If only I was summoned as a caster. If Wu Ming was summoned as a caster, he could use the uninscribed book and the staff of Anziwergen. Although Wu Ming could also use the uninscribed book as a saber, he couldn't use high-level magic because of his rank. It was just like in the game Yggdrasil, there was a sorcerer who used Perfect Warrior to equip the sorcerer's equipment, but as a result, he couldn't use the sorcerer's skills and items. Wu Ming's items were all game items. In addition to the racial conversion items, there were healing potions in the game for injuries, detoxification items for poisons, and holy items for curses, but many of those items couldn't be used by his current rank. Apart from those items, Wu Ming didn't have any items to remedy racial defects. After all, racial defects were common in the game, and customer service wouldn't specifically prepare items to overcome racial defects for a certain race. Just like Satya's vampire race, Satya had all the weaknesses of vampires, but those weaknesses were all weakened or protected by item effects, and they couldn't be eliminated completely. Although there were androids in Nasarick, the androids in the game had no defects. In this regard, Wu Ming couldn't do anything about it. You can try the power of the Holy Grail, or ask its creator. I think if it's the one who made it, there should be a way to prolong its life. At that moment, Joan of Arc, who Wu Ming was looking for, came here. Chapter 63. Jean stood on a stone and watched all of this. After seeing Wu Ming, Jean said in a trembling voice. Sodric, is it really you? Yo Jean. Wu Ming waved at Jean and smiled. A gust of wind blew, and Jean flew over and hugged Wu Ming tightly. Sodric, I. Jean buried her head in Wu Ming's arms, crying, wanting to say something, but she didn't know what to say. Jean. Wu Ming also hugged Jean tightly. At this moment, no one spoke. After a while, Astolfo raised his hand and said, Don't hug him, he's dying. Hearing this, Wu Ming and Jean hurriedly separated. Jean's face was red, and she turned her head away in embarrassment. Wu Ming looked at Astolfo fiercely, but Wu Ming also knew the severity of the situation and didn't mean to blame Astolfo. I have a way to save him. At this moment, Siegfried spoke. You have a way? As far as Wu Ming knew, Siegfried didn't have any life-saving items in Song of the Nibelungen, so Wu Ming asked. Yes, I have a way. With that said, Siegfried put his hand in front of himself. Wu Ming and others knew what Siegfried was going to do at this moment, and they didn't say anything. Only Jean said, Please wait a minute. You can't, Siegfried. With Jean's character and her identity as the supervisor of the Holy Grail War, she won't let Siegfried choose this path. Joan of Arc sincerely cared about the masters and servants of the Holy Grail War. But Siegfried didn't want to listen to Jean. He inserted his hand into his abdomen above his abdomen, avoided the ribs, and took out his heart. This is my wish, to help him, with my own will. Siegfried took his heart, placed it on the android's chest, and pushed it into his body. When the heart entered the body, it was like an object entering the water surface, causing ripples. Please, Sodric, Siegfried disappeared, like a hero. Soon, the android with Siegfried's heart woke up. This is. His red eyes were full of confusion, and he looked at Wu Ming, Jean, and Astolfo with confused eyes. You are saved, Siegfried gave you his heart, and now your body has become a normal person. After hearing this sentence, he touched his chest uncertainly, then said very slowly, Can I live? Yes, now you just need to give yourself a name. I will take care of the rest for you, Fang Xian, Wu Ming said sincerely to him. Later, Siegfried left Siegfried's heart, Siegfried, and the android with Siegfried, left, leaving the unconscious Fried. Soon, someone found the unconscious Fried and took him away. Tulifas, Myrenia Citadel. There were many figures gathered in the hall, some were servants and some were masters. Vlad III, who had met Wu Ming once, was sitting on the throne, and next to him stood the team leader of Yugdamarinia, Danik Priestone Yugdamarinia. This was a young man who looked like he was in his 20s or 30s, but in fact, he had lived for nearly 100 years. He had purple pupils and long dark green hair tied into a ponytail with a black hair band. He was wearing a black and white uniform of the Yugdamarinia race and a white cloak. He looked at Fried, who was devastated, and said, "So, what the hell is going on, Fried Mujik Yugdamarinia? Why did Saber disappear?" I don't know. I was in a coma. Why did this happen?" Fried seemed to be devastated, and he couldn't speak properly. At this time, Black Caster said, "I extracted a trace of the image from the magic crystals on the scene. Can you play it, Avisbrin?" Vlad 3 asked. "Yes." A voice without a trace of emotion came from under Avisbrin's mask. Through the magic projection, everyone saw an incomplete picture, but they already knew the specific reason for Saber's disappearance. "I didn't expect Saber to choose to give up her life for the sake of that android." Black Berserker Frankenstein's master, Cowles Fulvig Yugdamarinia, said. "In short, the current situation is very unfavorable for us. Although we captured the Red Berserker, we lost Saber, our strongest combat power, Assassin is out of control, and Rider has defected. The Red team may also know about our situation," Avisbrin said. "So, how about using the command spell to recall Rider?" Cowles asked. "It's useless. Rider's magical power is under the bonus of Noble Phantasm. Even if we use the command spell, there will be 2 of them. It's not worth it at all," Black Rider's master, Selenikai Esker Yugdamarinia said. "I will personally look for Rider, please rest assured, Patriarch." "Okay." Fried, do you have any information about the 2 sabers of the Red team?" Titanic asked. He didn't have much hope, he just wanted to ask. The result was beyond his expectations. "Yes, there is information. There are 2 red sabers, and the servant who fought against Ziegfeld before is called Sodlek." "Oh, the famous French general, the hero of the nation?" Vlad 3 was obviously interested in Sodlek, who was also a hero of the nation. And he also said, he is an additional servant summoned, and he said that after tonight, he will no longer be our enemy. Fried said nervously. "What does that mean?" Cowles wondered. "It seems that Sodlek's identity is a bit special, but in any case, we have to be prepared." Just like that, in the first night of the short confrontation, the black and red sides ended with both sides suffering losses. On the other side, Wu Ming, Jean, and Astolfo brought the android named Ziegfeld to a warm-hearted farmer's house. Then, Astolfo, "I'll leave Ziegfeld to you." "Okay, leave it to me." Astolfo raised his hand and smiled happily. "Remember to use the scroll I gave you. It can temporarily block the connection between you and your master, but remember not to get close to your master, or you will be discovered." Yes. Then, Wu Ming looked at Ziegfeld again. "Ziegfeld, now is the time for you to think about how to live in the future. After all, you already have the lifespan of a normal person." "I don't know." Ziegfeld shook his head. He, who was born as a magic supply, didn't know what to do at the moment, he just wanted to live. "Then think about it, no matter what you do, don't go against your heart, follow the guidance of your heart. Goodbye, Ziegfeld, Astolfo." After that, Wu Ming turned and looked at Jean, the 2 smiled and left side by side. Chapter 64. Wu Ming and Jean walked one after the other on the ground illuminated by the moonlight. Logically speaking, with their intimate relationship, they should be able to talk about everything. However, neither of them spoke at the moment. They just walked quietly and enjoyed a moment of peace. "Sodric, what is your wish to participate in the Holy Grail War?" After a moment of silence, Jean took the lead to speak. "Don't you know me, Jean? I don't have any wish. Wu-ming turned around and smiled at Jean. I came to the Holy Grail War to find you. Is that so? Jean was a little overwhelmed at the moment. Although she was a perfect saintess in front of others, whenever she was alone with her childhood sweetheart, she would become the village girl she was when she was a child. Looking at the confused Jean, Wu-ming smiled and touched her face. I still remember what you said before we were burned to death. Jean froze for a moment, then remembered something. Her cheeks that were touched by Wu-ming became flushed. That. No. Wu-ming looked at Jean, who was already incoherent, smiled, took her hand, and began to walk forward. While walking, he said, well, I know you want to give everything to the Lord now. Ah. No, that. I don't mean to go back on my words. Jean lowered her voice. If Wu-ming didn't listen carefully, he wouldn't have heard it. So, when you fulfill your promise to me, then you can give your all to the Lord. Jean was a little overwhelmed. She promised Wu-ming to marry her before, but now both of them have become servants, so marriage is impossible. And Wu-ming asked to fulfill his promise before letting her go, that is to say, yes, I decided to hold your hand all the time and not let go. Although Wu-ming was a scumbag when he said that. Thinking about Artoria, Gilgamesh, and Enkidu in the hands of Wu-ming's original body, well, Maeve didn't count. Wu-ming only treated her as a little sister. Yes, she was his younger sister. Actually, Gilgamesh and Enkidu could be considered daughters, and only Artoria could be counted as one. However, because Artoria had become a queen, she could no longer be with Wu-ming. In that case, he wasn't really a scumbag. Wu-ming didn't notice that Jean's gaze on him had changed. Why do I feel like you were a scumbag just now? Alas. The adorable saintess actually called him a scum. Was there a mistake? How could that be? It's wrong to think that way. Jean, by the way, you were summoned by the Holy Grail as a ruler. Is there anything unusual? Wu-ming laughed and changed the topic. Well, I originally thought that you were the anomaly this time, but after meeting you, I found that the anomaly hasn't been solved yet. There are other anomalies in this Holy Grail War. Jean replied seriously. If there really is an abnormality, then I think the Red Party Master is an abnormality. My master and I have met a priest before. He is the supervisor of this Holy Grail War and the Red Party Master. However, whether it is me, my master, or Mordred, we all feel that there is something wrong with that priest. Is that so, Soderlek? Where is your master now? I want to ask in person. Jean thought for a while and asked Wu-ming. He is not in Tulifas now. He was entrusted by the Magic Association to deal with the recent serial killings. Wu-ming shook his head. If that's the case, then okay. He will be back in a few days. For now, go on a date with me, Jean, alas. Alas. Early the next morning, Wu-ming took Jean, who had changed into casual clothes, to walk around the town. Because Jean was in the form of a physical body, Jean could not spiritualize, and had the functions of a normal person, such as eating and sleeping. If Jean did not eat and sleep, it would make her tired, so Wu-ming forced Jean, whose face was red, to stay in a hotel for the night. Of course, they booked 2 rooms. In terms of money, Wu-ming took out a few gold coins and exchanged them for some money. Wu-ming and Jean walked on the street and strolled around casually. Feeling Jean's resentful eyes, Wu-ming smiled. Really, Soderlek, you're making fun of me again. Well, you think too much. Okay, I'll treat you to something to eat. Okay, then I'll forgive you. As expected, Jean is still Jean, she hasn't changed at all. Did you say something? Why would I? Let's go, the taste of this shop is not bad, I've been here with my master before. Then, I'll try the food you recommended, Soderlek. Jean smiled sweetly at Wu-ming, then turned and walked into the shop. Wu-ming froze for a moment, then recovered. He smiled bitterly and shook his head. Really, I was fooled by you, Jean. Wu Ming and Jean had a very pleasant breakfast. During this process, Wu Ming and Jean did not realize that the two of them seemed to have returned to the age of 16, before they joined the army. The two of them were immersed in this happy time. But now it was the time of the Holy Grail War. After a while, Wu Ming received a message from Leo. General, are you in Tulifas now? Yes, what's wrong, Master? The serial killings were done by Black Assassin, we couldn't get rid of him. It seems to be some kind of skill or noble artifact, saber, and I can't remember any information about Black Assassin, we only know that he's Jack the Rifleman. I see, Fog Knight's man-killer fiend, then I can understand why you can't remember the information. Then, Wu Ming also had a short confrontation with Black's archer and his master, Saber and Black Archer were both injured, the other side retreated. What about Mordred, she's fine, right? After all, Wu Ming and Mordred had some relationship. It's not a big deal, I've already healed Saber, also, Father Shiro knows that I'm going to launch an attack on Black tonight, we might be late. If possible, help Red. Sorry, Master, I've already found the person I'm looking for, I've decided to stay neutral. Sigh. So sudden. Well, I won't force you, I'll rush back as soon as possible, then you can enjoy your peaceful days in the modern world. Ha ha ha, Master, you're so gentle, but don't worry, I'll try my best not to interfere in the war between Black and Red. Forget it, do as you please, that's it. Lion Jiali disconnected the communication with Wu Ming. Sodric, are you going to give up on the Holy Grail? Jean asked worriedly. My goal has been achieved, plus I was summoned by cheating, as the ruler, you definitely won't allow me to participate in the Holy Grail War anymore, right? That's true, looking at Jean's worried expression, Wu Ming took Jean's hand. Let's not worry about that for now, they'll only fight at night anyway, you can just be a village girl and go on a date with me during the day. Wait. Just like that, Wu Ming and Jean had a pleasant date. And on the other side. After dinner, Sieg sat in the courtyard in a daze. Yo, what are you thinking about, Sieg? Astolfo jumped out from behind Sieg. Hey, can I sit next to you? Astolfo, who had already sat down, asked. You've already sat down. Sieg said, somewhat at a loss. Sigh. Hee so, what are you worried about? Astolfo smiled awkwardly. I'm thinking about what Sodric said to me. Sieg withdrew his gaze from Astolfo and continued to stare blankly. That sentence, don't go against your heart, follow the direction your heart points to? Astolfo said with his finger on his cheek. As expected of the general who saved France, then Astolfo smiled sweetly at Sieg. Yes, he's a hero. So, what are you thinking, Sieg? Hearing this, Sieg looked at Astolfo, then touched his chest, feeling the beating of his heart. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.